Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. The Super Blue 3 abuse Champa at the start, participate in the Power Conference. Chapter 21. In the Universe Space, Champa, who was hit by Birgette's frontal kick, flew tens of millions of kilometers backwards, away from the planet Sarada, before barely stabilizing his body and no longer going backwards. Originally, it would not be so amazing, but the universe space is in a vacuum state. Once an object moves due to some force, it is not so easy to stabilize it easily. Even gods of destruction Champa cannot avoid this. After all, it can be regarded as a full-fledged whip leg in the state of Birgette's Super Saiyan God. At this moment, his hands were still trembling slightly. The body involuntarily sucked in a breath of cold air. Although there is no air visible in universe space, the action is instinctive, especially gods of destruction can survive in any environment, so it is definitely not affected by the vacuum. The moment he raised his hands, the piercing pain spread to his whole body, causing him to shiver coldly. As gods of destruction, he was injured. Injured by the mortal who he despised, Birgette. What are you kidding? I'm gods of destruction. I'm gods of destruction. Gods of destruction surged. Champa's roar shook the space, instantly shattering all the stars within a radius of thousands of miles. This level of coercion alone caused such great damage. It is conceivable that if it were on the Sarada planet, the planet would be shaken by his roar. At the same time, a fiery red light suddenly flashed. Birgette left Sarada in a straight line and came across space. When the light dissipated, Chao Sai God's posture stood in front of Champa without any expression, nor was he afraid of the deterrence of the power of Champa gods of destruction. The restrained power of God, even if most of it is withdrawn into his body, the invisible coercive momentum can still block Champa's gods of destruction power, causing layers of ripples in the surrounding universe space. This situation was unexpected for Champa. The terrifying strength displayed by Birgette even made him feel a little threatened. How can you, Saiyan, master the ability to survive in the universe? This is not something you can do when you become stronger. Or, it is because of your red-haired transformation that you have this ability. The anger in his stomach was mostly vented by shouting. Champa couldn't help but asked. At this question, Birgette smiled. Why care about such small details? It is indeed difficult to survive in the universe, but it is not impossible. You can think that this is what I got after becoming Super Saiyan God. Ability. Of course it's more than that. Recalling the past, when Birgette went to the Namek Ball in the 6th universe to summon Shenron, her first wish was the ability to survive in any environment. You know, this is essential. Otherwise, in the later stage, once the planet is destroyed, no matter how strong you are, you will be affected. Vegeta in the original book was so powerful that she died because of the explosion of the Earth. What a sad and wonderful thing. So in order to prevent this from happening, Birgette has this wish. Humph, Super Saiyan God, claiming to be a god, you are so funny. It's no wonder that you have the courage to shout at this god, relying on this transformation. Birgette didn't answer Champa's words. And this was taken as a default by Champa, only to hear him continue. What about Super Saiyan God? In front of gods of destruction, it's just an ant. Don't expect too much from the blow just now. You know, I've been playing with you from start to finish. The words fell, and the corners of Champa's originally gloomy face grinned, and the gods of destruction power around him surged wildly with this smile. In Birgette's perception, his combat power data also skyrocketed wildly. As expected of gods of destruction, even the weakest gods of destruction is not as simple as I thought. In Birgette's eyes, Champa's combat power stats soared more than tenfold. That terrifying momentum caused violent turmoil in the universe space. With a simple description, which is also the description of the original book, when gods of destruction is angry, the entire universe will tremble 3 times. At this moment, Champa's combat power has soared to a unit of 700 grooves. It is only 300 ditch away from Kiongo. Is this your full strength? Champa. Birgette's eyes narrowed slightly, the corners of her mouth waving slightly. Champa, indeed, was stronger than he thought. However, it is also weak in disguise. What is stronger is that he is indeed stronger than Chao Sai God. The weak point is that he can only compare with Super Saiyan. The original plan was to at least transform into Super Saiyan Blue to compete with it. At this level, although he surpassed his Super Saiyan God, the transformation of a higher level would be able to press him firmly and beat him. Of course, it's unclear if this is Champa's full strength. Gods of Destruction is the only one who can make the best of Gods of Destruction from other universes. It's just you, but you are not qualified. But you can be proud. At present, in the entire universe, you are the first to let me show such strong energy, mortals. Champa said wildly. The situation changed. Champa didn't hesitate anymore this time, and launched the attack directly. I saw it raised his hand and waved, and countless rays of light gathered and formed, turning into countless energy bombs suspended in the universe space. Each of these energy bombs contains incomparably terrifying power. This kind of attack, interesting. It looks like it was the right decision to get you to fight in the universe space, Birgit said. If this was on the planet Sarada, such an intensive attack would definitely destroy the entire planet. Even if it doesn't explode, it will become a Death Star. The fun is yet to come. Soon you'll know how stupid you are. With a wave of his hand, Champa's attack began to strike. Countless energy bombs swept toward Birgit like all the bees in the hive. The dense attack without the slightest loophole made Birgit frown slightly, and directly opened the protective barrier to resist. Boom. Single quote. With the occurrence of a big explosion, successive explosions continued to explode in the same place. This is the consequence of provoking Gods of Destruction. Boy, as you said, this is just the beginning. This god doesn't want to destroy you immediately. I saw that he raised his hand, and a fiery red burning super energy bomb rapidly expanded. In just a few seconds, the diameter has reached several kilometers. This kind of attack is extremely powerful. Once it explodes, the range that can be spread cannot be described as a mere 1,000 miles. At least, it is a power that can wipe out a galaxy. It was such a terrifying attack at any time. It is enough to see how terrifying the real means of Gods of Destruction are. Once Gods of Destruction really does it, it will destroy the world. He won't play the family drama with you, and his gestures may shatter the planet, collapse the space, and even the galaxy cannot escape the fate of destruction. Struggle in the pain, the abusive words said, and the huge fiery red energy bomb charged straight towards the center of the explosion. Birgit, who was under attack, recovered. Although the continuous attack explosions shattered the energy shield, it did not completely destroy it. If you just take another blow, you can't resist it. Not to mention, such a terrifying attack. You want me to suffer, but it's not as simple as you say it casually. I'll take this move. Angrily glared, the corners of Birgit's mouth twitched, and energy quickly gathered when she raised her hand. The golden air bombs condensed in both hands fused together under the movement of the hands, and transformed into a light bomb that bloomed with golden light. Seeing the incomparably huge energy projectile approaching in a straight line, Birgit released the attack without hesitation. Ultimate, Smash Cannon. With a roar, the golden lightning bolts rapidly expanded, and then instantly turned into an incomparably rough energy column that shot directly at Champa's attack. The Ultimate Smasher. This is the third most powerful move that Birgit knows. And this trick is also a super skill created by the Ultimate Flash of the original Vegeta. Even if it is only rank 3rd, it is an attack whose power is immeasurable and cannot be underestimated. At least in terms of power, it definitely won't lose to Champa's attack power. LB. Single quote. The collision between the energy column and the energy bomb is just a moment, and the invisible impact wave starts from the collision center and spreads in all directions at a speed of hundreds of miles per second. The terrifying impact, in just a moment, wiped out all the stars and meteorites within a radius of tens of thousands of miles and turned them into ashes. The pressure hit, and Birgit took a deep breath for the first time. Even if there is no air in the universe space, the ability to survive in any environment, even without oxygen, is an instinctive habit. The breath kept surging and circulating, and for a while, Birgit knew that it was unrealistic to compare the power of Super Saiyan God to Champa. This guy's strength, as he said just now, is more than that. 10th dimension. This is indeed the realm of Gods of Destruction. But the 10th dimension is just the beginning. The information in the original book is indeed provided, but Birgit initially thought that Champa, as the weakest Gods of Destruction, should only be at this level. Now, it doesn't seem to be. Even if it is the weakest, it is at least at the level of Kyongo. Have you blocked it? Humph. Even so, what can I do? I still have to be suppressed by this god. You have already exerted all your strength, but I am far from there. The next second, Birgit only felt pressure build up. Obviously, even if he didn't feel it, he didn't see it, but it must be another attack from Champa. He is blessing the power of his energy bomb to suppress his counterattack. Have you reached the power above the Kyongo level? It's incredible, but I'm more than that. Her eyes changed dramatically, and Birgit mobilized the hidden energy pool in her body. At this point, it is no longer necessary to continue the status quo. So, Birgit transformed again without hesitation. The fiery red arrogance was restrained, and then a blue light suddenly appeared, overflowing from the body. Maintaining the offensive posture and maintaining the output of energy, it is the first time for Birgit to transform in this situation. However, he can do it. Because for the further transformation of Super Saiyan blue color, practice makes perfect. As long as you want, you can achieve it at any time. Destroy it. As long as the strength is enough, this level of attack is meaningless. His eyes changed again, and the next second, the energy was completely released. The power of the ultimate smashing cannon increased rapidly, but in a short 3 seconds, the huge energy bomb was broken through. LB. Single quote. Of an explosion. Space vibration universe, if the meteorites and stars within a radius of tens of thousands of miles have already been smashed, the power of this moment is enough to crush everything. When the explosion dissipated, when the aftermath cleared, after the energy was completely vanished, Champa was still in a state of confusion. He raised his hand and looked forward with some surprise. In the dark universe, even if you can see some things clearly with the help of distant light, you can't see them completely. But now, with that dazzling light, Champa couldn't have mistaken it. Birgit once again, transformed. Moreover, it is the transformation he has seen and is familiar with. You will also transform into that blue. This blue divine power evoked Champa's memory, reminding him of the 6th universe and the 7th universe. Martial arts competition, Saiyan's blue transformation of the 7th universe. It seems that Saiyan from the 7th universe has indeed reached this level. Then I don't need to introduce myself again. Drink. With a sullen voice, the blue divine power around Birgit burst. His hair became erect, and became the same state as Super Saiyan, except that the color of the hair and pupils changed to blue. Super Saiyan blue color, and it is in a state of full power, a 10,000-fold increase to normal, so that Birgit's combat power soars to Kyongu's unit. Kyongu's unit. This is full power in Super Saiyan blue. It is because of this power that Birgit is once again on par with Champa in power, and even exceeds the power that Champa is using now. It's a pity that now only Champa has seen this transformation. If he was still on the Sarada planet, Gabe would completely subvert his cognition after seeing it. He always felt that Saiyan from the 7th universe was ahead, far ahead of Saiyan from their universe. It's just that he's behind. Birgit is already there, and he's not lying to him. Facing the stunned Champa, Birgit was enveloped in azure blue streamer energy arrogance, without giving him the slightest chance to react. The next second, he charged his legs and sprinted with all his strength in the void. The whole body turned into a azure blue streamer, carrying unrivaled power and rushing towards Champa. Not good. This kid. Before he could react, Champa jumped, and before he had time to say or do something, Birgit was already approaching, and at a moment when he was unprepared, a heavy punch came and hit him in the face above the door. Pound. Single quote. The dull sound shook the space and spread out in the universe space. Champa was hit by the punch and fell backwards, purple blood splattered from his nostrils. Battle. Just started. The playful words said, and Birgit treated Champa in a provocative way. The continuous violent attack unfolded in the next second, sweeping through Champa's body like a gust of wind and rain. But in just a few seconds, Champa was attacked dozens of times with all his strength, and his fat face was bruised by Birgit's attack. A shrill scream echoed in the space, and he tried to counterattack in Birgit's onslaught, but without exception, his attack was either easily dodged by Birgit, or perfectly blocked and pushed away. In just a few rounds of fighting, the gap has already been reflected. Bang! A muffled sound. Champa's face was severely injured again, and his body barely stabilized after retreating hundreds of meters, and Birgit also stopped chasing at this moment. Looking at Champa, whose nose was bruised by his beating, his eyes felt an inexplicable amusing. This guy's melee combat ability really pulls his hips. Just now his attack had not used all his strength, and he had beaten Champa of the same level into this kind of virtue. This is the power of the so-called gods of destruction. If that's all, it's really disappointing. Do you think you can destroy me now? Gods of destruction Champa. Looking silently at Champa, who was severely injured, Birgit shook her head. Such a move is undoubtedly the greatest insult to gods of destruction Champa. For a moment, the anger in my heart soared. It's just luck and a few punches, don't get carried away there. The roaring sound waves spread, and the terrifying power burst out again. The long-range attack used for this kind of deterrence is extremely suppressive for ordinary people, but for Birgit, it is not worth mentioning at all. In simple words, this kind of attack is undoubtedly the fact that Champa poured the power of gods of destruction into his own voice, so as to have such a destructive power. Close combat is not cheap, so I want to use this method to save face. As everyone knows, the more he is like this, the more incompetent he is. Overwhelmed. It was you who got overwhelmed before, Champa. The battle has been going on so far, and frankly, it didn't reach Birgit's expectations at all. Champa just got knocked down a few times before breaking the defense, and Birgit lost interest in fighting Champa. Stop talking. This god will let you see how terrifying the real gods of destruction is. Don't think that you can take advantage of it. Saiyan monkey. The anger made Champa's forehead appear blue again, and his face was extremely ugly. He burst out with more powerful power. In fact, he should have taken it out long ago, otherwise he would not have been suppressed by Birgit before. It wasn't too late to take it out now, but Birgit lost the mind to play with him. Moreover, he has to show more strength, and Birgit is also ready to show further strength. A pool of energy hidden deeper within the body is mobilized. Dark blue light, liberated within Birgit's body. The majestic power of God poured out uncontrollably in all directions. The invisible coercion perfectly offset the surge in Champa's gods of destruction. This profound and powerful divine power even made Angel on the planet Sarada look sideways. Champa calmed down even more in the outbreak, sluggish in place. This dark blue light obviously made him feel the most direct threat. The next second, he only felt a flower in front of him, and suddenly a stream of light flashed past and arrived in front of him. Pound. A punch, wrapped in a dark blue streamer, embedded in Champa's belly. Time, space, everything seems to be frozen at this moment. Champa, who was hit hard, covered his severely injured abdomen with his hands, and his body retreated uncontrollably. His eyes widened, and bloodshot eyes filled his eyes. Purple blood slipped from the corner of his mouth, showing how much damage the punch had done to him. You, who the hell are you? But how could a mere Saiyan have such power? Champa was shocked, and he felt a feeling he had never felt before from Birgit. Birgit, the deep blue ray, did not attack again. After withdrawing his fist, he stood in front of Champa. When all the light dissipated, Birgit stood in the void with a new attitude, looking at Champa. Dark blue sky-high hair, and even bigger muscles filled with explosive power. This form is the evolution state of Super Saiyan Dark Blue, and it can also be said to be the second order of Super Saiyan Blue color. The 20-fold increase in the full power of Super Blue is equivalent to a 200,000-fold increase in normal combat power. Raise Birgit's combat power limit to the level of the 11th dimension. 2 streams. This terrifying surge of power has surpassed the realm of gods of destruction, reaching a realm above gods of destruction Champa. This level of power, this level of shock. Champa's eyes became solemn. There is no doubt that he has been gods of destruction for tens of billions of years, and he has never suffered a defeat. In this universe, he is the strongest existence, and no one can violate his will. But now he is overtaken by a Saiyan. No, impossible. I don't believe it. How could anyone in this universe have the power to surpass my gods of destruction? Stop bluffing there, Saiyan monkey. Champa's disbelief led him to launch a frantic attack. The strength possessed by thousands of combat units was fully displayed by him. The extremely terrifying energy attack launched a bombardment on Birgit. However, the seemingly ferocious attack that can destroy everything is not enough for Birgit. The gap between the 11th dimension and the 10th dimension is too great. Even if the unit between 9,999 ditch and 1 gully is only 1 ditch apart, it is a world of difference. Standing still, Birgit didn't even have the thought of evading the bombardment of this magnitude. No need. I have told you before, but I didn't say it clearly. Gods of destruction has never been invincible. Even mortals, as long as they cultivate to a certain strength, gods of destruction may not be able to destroy them. Now I am, even to the point of surpassing you, Champa. Now you can understand. Birgit looked at Champa like a god of war, and the invisible pressure not only offset the power of the explosion but also easily overwhelmed Champa whole body, so that its movement stagnates. Humph, it's just a change of shape. You dare to say that he is stronger than me. In this world, gods of destruction is an absolute existence, and you think that you are above gods of destruction. A pretentious human like you, it is right to destroy you. In my universe, a guy like you is not allowed to exist. With an angry roar, Champa was full of gods of destruction, on his whole body. The majestic dark purple arrogance is condensed and strengthened around him, and Champa's strength is continuing to increase sharply. He also really realized the threat, so he had to use all his strength. Especially the anger and humiliation. Let Champa know that if he doesn't give his best, he is afraid that he will really be defeated. The intensity of gods of destruction's power became stronger and stronger. Champa raised his hands high, and in the void, the dark purple electric arc exploded, and a terrifying energy that was so deep and deep enough to destroy everything loomed. The intensity of this energy has reached the level of the 10th dimension, which is close to the level of 5,000 grooves. And this is the full power of Champa. At the same time, Champa is also ready to bring out his strongest attack. It was also the last blow in his opinion. The source of gods of destruction is fully bloomed, and he puts out all the moves that he has performed. After this move, Champa will be unable to bear the body due to the overloaded use of gods of destruction. The better one is physical and energy consumption. In the end, it was improperly used, which caused the body to explode and die. Interesting. Then let me see how far your strongest attack can reach. Champa. The corner of his mouth twitched, and the dark blue evolved Birgit narrowed her eyes, looking forward to it. If gods of destruction can't bring him oppression, then no one else can. Except for Angel, of course. Ong. Single quote. The deep purple light is getting stronger and stronger, and the gods of destruction force in Champa's palm is condensed and formed. Compared with the previous destructive energy attack, the gap is too big. The power of gods of destruction this time was directly condensed into a supergiant destructive bomb comparable to the size of a meteor. This kind of power destroys the sky and destroys the earth, and once everything is contaminated, it must be turned into nothing. Faced with such a large super-destructive energy ball, Birgit's expression remained unchanged and unmoved. Although it is very strong, it is not enough to threaten him in the 11th dimension. In his eyes, this energy was just like the previous attack, and it didn't have the slightest effect. Super Saiyan's dark blue evolution has given him the capital of arrogance and arrogance. Even if Champa goes further and displays stronger destruction, it can only be like this. Is this all it takes for me to wait so long? Birgit muttered. With a grasp of the right hand, the deep blue light blooms on the body, and the rich power of God and the power of Saiyan fuse, scattered in the space. Pretentious human, do you think you can stop the last blow of this god? Give me. Go to die. With a hysterical cry, Champa, who was completely red-eyed, condensed this crystal to the limit. The super-destructive energy ball is thrown out. A scorching deep purple light filled with an aura of destruction. Facing the attack of this huge destructive energy ball, Birgit raised her hand calmly, the power of God condensed in her palm. To block this blow that can destroy everything with one hand. Om. Boom. The moment the energy collided with Birgit's palm, a harsh roar and impact erupted. A huge pressure fell on Birgit's body, but Birgit didn't care. This super-destructive energy ball was blocked by him with one hand and could no longer move forward. Nani? This is impossible. You actually blocked it. Champa had a ghostly expression when his strongest blow was blocked. As the strongest blow of gods of destruction, he was caught with one hand by Saiyan who had lived less than 100 years. It seemed impossible to him. Even Champa suspects that he is dreaming. And this scene, even with Vados hiding in the dark watching the battle, was shocked. Birgit's combat power was much stronger than she thought, and with just one hand, she blocked the full blow of Champa, the gods of destruction. Even though Champa has been lazy for so many years and hasn't practiced much, what I have to say is that she knows best how strong Champa is. Obviously, Birgette's power has surpassed the basic boundaries of gods of destruction. This power, let alone Champa, may not match the gods of destruction of other universes. Champa, let's end this boring fight. You're not my opponent. Besides, you've done your best, I'm just warming up. Birgette's confident voice entered Champa's ears through the boundless void. This made the already frightened Champa pupils shrink suddenly. In the next second, his super destructive energy ball, which was blocked by Birgette's one-handed, was crazily compressed by a powerful force, and finally shrunk into a size that Birgette could grasp with one-handed. Hey, sound. The destruction completely collapsed, turning into purple particles scattered in the sky. This scene completely shocked Champa, causing panic in his heart. All previous anger, all previous grievances, have been replaced. Champa was terrified, and he felt the threat of death from Birgette. This sense of fear caused his body to retreat uncontrollably. Will die. This Saiyan, powerful enough to kill his gods of destruction. I still remember your arrogant words threatening to destroy Sarada Star and our Saiyan clan, but now it seems that the situation has reversed, Champa. Her eyes narrowed, and Birgette mobilized the hidden energy pool in her body. Drink. With a muffled roar, the energy pool of Super Saiyan's dark blue evolution was fully deployed. Birgette's breath intensity and energy also soared again. Super Saiyan's dark blue evolution peak state, the normal combat power increased by 500,000 times, and the super blue full power increased by 50 times, raising Birgette's power limit to the level of 5 gully. Champa felt the terrifying pressure that was rushing to his soul, and subconsciously wanted to turn around to escape, but found that he couldn't move at all. His body was locked by Birgette's breath. Unable to move, Champa was completely disorganized at this time. As a gods of destruction, he felt so powerless for the first time. Facing Birgette, he no longer had the same emotions he had before, and he suddenly began to feel remorse. Over the years, I have been wasting my time. If I have been cultivating all the time, if I have not been lazy, then this is not the case now. It seems that you have really reached your limit, Champa, this battle is over. Stepping on the void, Birgette moved her mind and turned into a dark blue streamer and rushed towards Champa again. In less than 0.00001 seconds, Birgette appeared in front of Champa, and the dark blue light converged on the fist. For a time, the hairs on Champa's body stood up, his pupils shrank suddenly, and the dark blue light emitting from that fist made him feel suffocated. This kind of tension, this kind of oppression, except when facing Grand Priest and Lord Zeno, no one could ever give him such a feeling. Am I going to fall? A voice was ringing in his heart, and death was imminent, activating the sleeping potential deep within Champa's body. When they reach a dead end, they will compulsively find a way to crack and find a way out. And the power that belonged to Champa has always emerged at this last moment because of his laziness and his unconcerned power. In the end, it also made Champa feel incredible. It's just this moment, time seems to be frozen at this moment, he wants to raise his hand to block, but because of the intervention, this battle can only end temporarily. ... That's it. In the void, an ethereal voice came. Serious, irresistible. Champa froze, as did Birgette. It's just that the full-strength punch was still fired, and it was not taken back. Pound. Single quote. The layers of ripple spread, and the infinite power exploded in the void, and the universe space burst into a dazzling snow-white light. When the white light faded, Birgette's punch wasn't on Champa. Instead, it was blocked by another person. This person is none other than Angel Vados. In that instant, far exceeding the speed shown by Birgette, he appeared in front of Champa and helped Champa block the fatal blow. Do not. Wrong. Birgette could feel that it was definitely not faster, but that time was really suspended at that moment, and Vados crossed time, which was able to block the blow. With cold sweat on his face and sweating profusely, Champa looked particularly cowardly and timid when he was frightened. At this time, he was like a frightened fat cat who just wanted to hide behind his master for comfort. Usually, he is the master and Vados is the squire. By this time, Vados was like his master, he was just a pet. Watching Vados, Birgette looked serious. The most unpleasant thing happened. Sure enough, at such a time, it is impossible for him to really destroy Champa. Even if Angel can't interfere with the order of the universe, he can't do anything at will, but if Gods of Destruction is facing a death crisis, Angel will still stop such a thing from happening. All in all, this is a guarantee of Gods of Destruction. The fear at the beginning was not wrong. Birgit anticipated this situation, but just didn't expect Vados to shoot so quickly and so decisively. I knew that from the very beginning, there was no fairness in this battle. Once Gods of Destruction was defeated by me, as Angel, you won't think you didn't see it. Looking at Vados in front of him, Birgit withdrew. Fist, muttered. At the peak of Super Saiyan's dark blue evolution, his combat power has reached 5 streams. But still can't see through Vados' combat power index. Even, I can't feel where the bottom line of that unfathomable breath is. As for Birgit's words, Vados chuckled lightly, put his hands behind him, and said with a smile, Gods of Destruction can't happen. Under the premise of universe's existence, every detail is interlinked. Once Gods of Destruction, if you die, then the universe will be affected in disguise, or even destroyed. Besides, you have already won this battle, so you don't have to fight to the death, don't you? Birgit-san. Acknowledging the strength of Birgit, and also admitting that Birgit has completely surpassed Champa. Vados' words made Gods of Destruction Champa's teeth itch with anger. It is certain that I am not convinced. As Gods of Destruction, I lost to a Saiyan from my own universe. If this was spread out, it would be really shameful and thrown home. Vados, who wants you to take action? I haven't lost yet, Champa said stubbornly, unwilling to admit his defeat. In the end, it was because of Vados that he had the courage to shout again. Well, Lord Champa, I know you don't want to admit your failure, but it's the truth, you lost, and you lost very much. You have already used your strength beyond your limit just now, and Mr. Birgit, so far, I haven't come up with all my skills. Vados's words discouraged, leaving Champa completely stunned. You said, what? He hasn't done his best yet. His pupils shrank suddenly, and Champa's disbelieving gaze fell on Birgit again. He also felt fear again. There was no way Vados could lie to him, so it could only be true. Hey, did you see through it? I should say, as expected of Angel. Hearing this, Birgit chuckled lightly. It seems calm on the surface, but in fact, waves have been set off in the heart. Birgit's fear of Vados also grew. Angel, worthy of being the most mysterious existence in the Dragon Ball world, can see through his full strength just at a glance. Even how much power was hidden was seen by this guy. So, in the face of absolute strength, where can there be fairness? If it wasn't for his strength beyond Gods of Destruction, how could he say anything unfair to Gods of Destruction? At this time, his strength is far inferior to Angel Vados, so the word fairness is meaningless. Impossible. I absolutely don't believe it. If he really had such a strong power, he would have taken it out a while ago, and it would not have been possible to drag it to the present. Also, it's outrageous that he is so strong. You say he's still far from the real thing. I can't believe what you say. Vados, if you're trying to irritate me, there's no need to say that. Champa didn't want to accept the reality. After all, failure has stimulated his self-esteem. He was absolutely reluctant to admit that his full strength was not even a drop of Birgit's. I knew you would say that. Vados seemed to have expected it long ago, rolled his eyes, turned to look at Birgit, smiled lightly, and asked, Birgit-san, do you mind showing your full strength? It's an eye-opener for Lord Champa. Vados asked, which surprised Birgit. Is it to make your master sober? So that's why. Indeed, Champa has no brains. If there is his shock and deterrence, there may be big changes in the future. It turns out that, since you said it, it's okay to show it to him. Originally, if you deal with him, you don't need to use this form. Super Saiyan Blue Color Third Order. Since the battle with that guy that year, he has never been released from this state. In the universe, suddenly, the dark blue energy ray greatly increased and sublimated. Along with the rhythm of the power of God, the power of Saiyan is constantly purifying and evolving. The purity was continuously raised, and the power increased wildly. The dark blue energy beam is like opening up the world, illuminating the dark universe and going straight into the depths of the universe space. Birgit, who was in the light, burst out her suppressed emotions and strength with the cry. The entire sixth universe was shaken by this heaven-defying terrifying power. Do not. At this moment, it is not only the 6th universe, but even the 7th universe and the 8th universe that are close to it are more or less affected. When this terrifying energy burst out completely, not only Champa fell into a state of panic, but Vados was also completely shocked. Beyond the current limit, once again beyond the limit of the realm. To say that the Birgit just now crossed the basic realm of gods of destruction, and now it is truly beyond the level of gods of destruction. And if this aura got stronger, it would already be able to catch up with her as angel. Although, it has long been known that Birgit hides a lot of power, and it is also known that Birgit is not as simple as it seems. But she never thought that this hidden strength would be so outrageous. Looking at Champa again, his face turned blue and purple at the moment, his body was shaking violently. Under the coercion of this superpower, he felt like a fragile ant. As long as the other party was willing, you can run over him anytime, anywhere. Before, he was raving about destroying Birgit and Sarada planets, and the Saiyan family. What a stupid and ridiculous thing. If Birgit had brought out this power when they first met, he would have been shattered to pieces. Even if Vados came forward, it would be too late to save him, right? For the first time, Champa felt such unimaginable power from a mortal. Using his most intuitive view now, this power has far surpassed the gods. Not only his gods of destruction, the other gods of destruction and him together, I am afraid they have been completely surpassed. It's amazing, Lord Champa, you know now that there is a sky outside the sky, and there are people outside of it, right? God, it is not absolute. Vados said. These words stimulated Champa again, causing him to gasp. Before Champa could answer, suddenly, ong, a muffled sound shook the space. The dark blue light, which constantly expands and wraps the starry sky, is as dazzling as the universe galaxy, and the scorching arrogance is liberated with Birgit as the center. Under the bath of this divine power, Birgit also ushered in the final transformation. The dark blue hair is stretched to the waist, and the temperament has undergone an absolute change. This form is exactly the same as the 3rd level of Super Saiyan. The only difference is the color of the hair and eyes. Of course, there is another difference, that Super 3 has no eyebrows, but Birgit's Super Blue 3 has eyebrows. But this is also because of Birgit's ultimate transformation. The 3rd stage of Super Saiyan Blue has reached full power. If it is an ordinary Super Blue 3, there is no difference in appearance between the physical and Super 3, except for the color. As for the power, it is based on the evolution peak of Super Saiyan Dark Blue, and it has been increased by 100 times again. Equivalent to a 50 million times normal increase in combat power. This also caused Birgit's combat power to soar to the realm of 500 streams. This is all I have. After transforming, Birgit looked at Angel Vados calmly and said. These words also brought back the shocked Champa and Vados. This unimaginable power of God. How can it be mastered by mortals? It is difficult for even gods to achieve this step. How did you do it? Having already completely believed in Birgit's power, he was overturned. Sangwon's Champa begins to question why Birgit is strong. The universe has been expanding, and the world has been evolving. In simple words, why is the power of gods only used by gods? You are too ignorant. Indulge in pleasure and ignore the birth of the strong in the universe, Champa. Now you should understand, the gap between you and me. If Angel hadn't come forward, you'd be dead now. Watching Champa, Birgit replied. At the same time, the imposing, incomparably powerful coercion pressed straight on Champa. You used to be very arrogant, now, can you still be like before? Destroying the Sarada planet and destroying the Saiyan family, do you need to report to me or even the Saiyan family? Saiyan apologizes. If I say that my strength is not as strong as yours, then I can imagine that now not only I am dead, but the Sarada planet and the Saiyan family have also been wiped out by you. After Birgit's words, Champa's face suddenly turned the color of pig liver. He was utterly embarrassed. As gods of destruction, he indulged the unknown young man, no one could restrain him, and he always acted and spoke as he wanted. But today, he met Birgit, an existence who could suppress and suppress, which made him have to bow his head. But apologies, this matter is about the dignity of gods of destruction, especially Champa, who is extremely face-saving. He never bowed his head to anyone. Turning his head to look at Vados, Vados was unmoved at this time, completely ignoring his eyes. There is no doubt that this is the default of Birgit's approach. If you did something wrong, it's hard to apologize, unless you want to be beaten up. This is what Vados thinks. For her, it is also a good thing for Champa to be beaten, and it will not be so messy in the future. As long as it doesn't die, it's not a big problem. In the end, the seemingly unrelenting remark was also said casually by Birgit. It's not a request, it's just sarcasm. Impossible. Even if I die, I will never apologize to Saiyan. What if I have mastered such a powerful god's power? I'm still immortal, and I want my gods of destruction to apologize to you, absolutely. No. Yes. Yes. Champa's attitude was very tough. In this remark, he seems to be expressing that his dignity cannot be tarnished. Really, but in the face of absolute strength, your stubbornness is meaningless. The corners of Birgit's mouth undulated slightly, and she already had a playful thought in her mind. Since Vados has acquiesced, this fat cat needs to be suppressed. The majestic power of the gods circled around him. In less than 0.0001 seconds, Birgit teleported in front of Champa, and when Champa hadn't recovered his senses, he restrained his neck and threw a heavy punch with lightning speed. Pound! A thrilling sound of flesh-piercing exploded. Just for a brief moment, Birgit's fist hit Champa's fat cheek. Champa's entire face was deformed by the devastating blow in the front. To bear this punch while being restrained, you can imagine how huge the damage is. Ah! A scream. Champa's already bruised face was even more miserable. Blood flowed out from the corners of his nostrils and mouth. Although his consciousness still existed, such a severe trauma had already made Champa's mind feel stuffy. If it weren't for him being the gods of destruction, and if his body wasn't strong enough, how could he withstand such a blow? You know, this is Birgit in the Super Blue 3 full power state. With the strength of hundreds of units, how could it be comparable to the current Champa? So, should you admit defeat or continue? Champa, it's hard to be polite. Birgit continued to hold Champa's neck, and said with a cold expression and no mercy. It's impossible for me, who is the gods of destruction, to admit defeat. Champa, who was not convinced, was still so stubborn. Even if he has been hit hard, even if he knows that he is not an opponent, he is still stubborn. The atmosphere became a little anxious, and Vados just watched. As Angel, as the attendant of the 6th universe gods of destruction, she can be said to have watched Champa come along, and she also knows Champa's temper best. At this moment, she doesn't want to save her master, she now wants Birgit to deal with this always pretentious master, so that he can work harder in the future. The gods of destruction herself would not know, but as an angel, how could she not know that Champa, the gods of destruction, was out of touch based on her strength alone? Compared to other gods of destruction, he is arguably the weakest. Compared with its twin brother Beerus, it is even more incomparable. One day, one place. Lord Champa, it's not that I don't save you, but if you don't change, our 6th universe really can't rise again. Maybe one day in the future, you will be completely replaced. Vados sighed in his heart. All in all, it's still the same idea. I can't kill him anyway, whatever Birgit does, as long as it doesn't kill Champa. Moreover, Vados is also in disguise to let Birgit vent. You must know that Champa's approach was really excessive before, and now that his own lack of ability is countered, there is nothing to say. In particular, now that Vados has determined that Birgit is currently the strongest combat force in the 6th universe, as long as Birgit participates in the All-Universe Power Conference that will be held in the future, the result will be interesting. At least, Birgit alone has completely surpassed those Saiyans of the 7th universe. As Angel, Vados still has a dark side. Champa, who was lifted by Birgit, cast an aggrieved look at Vados for help, only to notice that Vados was not listening to the outside world, his face darkened. He sees it, Vados doesn't want to deal with him. Before he could say anything, Birgit threw his fist again, hitting him hard in the face. In an instant, the dull feeling in his head struck again, and blood flowed from his nose and mouth from time to time, making him miserable. Birgit, do you want to continue? Or to admit defeat now and get beaten up a little less? Champa glared angrily. Of course not. Boom. Single quote. Another punch. Birgit. Now what? Embarrassed Champa. Asshole, you'll pay for humiliating the gods of destruction. Boom. Single quote. Birgit. Still stubborn. Champa. I'm going to kill you. I must kill you. Together with the planet Sarada. LB. Single quote. Birgit. I like gods of destruction with a backbone like you, you are more resistant to beatings. Champa. Ah. Boom. Single quote. Champa. Vados, are you still pretending to be nothing? Help me. Vados reached for his ear, unmoved. Finally, after 3 full minutes of beating, Champa is no longer human, and the whole head is swollen like a pig's head, especially the cheeks on both sides. It has to be said that he is still quite resistant to beatings, and his defense is extremely high. Probably the strongest of gods of destruction. Hey, another punch. Seeing such a tough Champa, Birgit sighed involuntarily. You know, after beating him for so long, even if it was interesting at first, it would be numb and boring. Birgit was such a mental shift that it was around this time that Champa also seemed to be reaching his limit. With his mental capacity reaching the current level, he finally realized the seriousness of the problem. Stop. Wrong. I shouldn't be so domineering, sorry. Can't I apologize for my behavior? Champa was really scared of being beaten. For Champa, Birgit hits really hard and has just the right amount of power control, not knocking him out every time, and making him miserable with every punch. Oh, wouldn't it be better? You have to suffer and then surrender. Isn't this the end? With a grin, Birgit stopped moving and threw the dying Champa at Vados. At this moment, Vados had already noticed this situation in advance, and the angel scepter in his hand burst into a ray of light that enveloped the flying Champa and wrapped it. This magical power made Birgit look sideways. Although it is not a special method, Birgit can easily do it. But there was power in it that Birgit had never seen before. In particular, Champa, who was shrouded in light, seemed to have disappeared, no longer existed in Birgit's perception, and the injuries on Champa's body began to be slowly healed. Vados, you're just watching me get beaten up like this, right? That's how you treat your master. Champa's weak voice still seemed to accuse Vados, with tears in the corners of his eyes, obviously aggrieved. I know, Lord Champa, it's my fault. Vados responded with a dumbfounded cry, and then Angel's scepter was aimed at Champa. Ong. Single quote. A mysterious light of healing emanated from Champa's body. Under Angel Vados' ability, all of Champa's injuries recovered as before. The exhausted breath also recovered to its peak under this power. That's one of Angel's abilities, and even Birgit can't believe it when he sees it up close. After all, such a serious injury could be healed in such a short period of time. Angel, as expected, is mysterious enough, and her methods are extremely incredible. This skill alone can instantly heal others, not only repairing the skin trauma, but also repairing the original energy and spirit, and now Champa looks like a normal person. Hey, I'm finally alive. I felt like I was going to die just now. Champa, who had returned to his peak, couldn't help but sigh in relief. Having escaped the catastrophe made him feel how comfortable he is now. But it didn't take long for him to think of the angry picture before and glared at Birgit. This Saiyan, he will never forget it in this life. After living for 10 billion years, the first time he was beaten by a mere mortal, he couldn't handle it, and he was beaten unilaterally, and his life was almost lost. The scene of being strangled and tortured by the neck is normally what he does to others. Now he is himself. How dare you look at me like that? Haven't you been beaten enough before? Do you want to do it again? Birgit glanced at Champa contemptuously and said disapprovingly. As soon as these words came out, Champa was even more angry and itchy, but he couldn't attack. Who makes his strength really inferior to Birgit? Even if there is another fight, the result will be the same. HMPH. You're amazing, I admit it today, but the next time we meet, it will never be the same as this time. You better prepare to wait for me to come to you next time. The majestic words came out of Champa's mouth. This is him trying to get his face back forcibly. Hearing such words, Birgit didn't care, not afraid of him coming, but afraid that he would not come. You know, this sixth universe, also Champa can play with him. It would be interesting if he got stronger. Then I'll wait for you to come to me. But don't let me down, because next time I won't be merciful. Even if Angel is still there, she won't be able to save you. Birgit snorted softly and said. To put it bluntly, the same goes for Champa. He turned his head impatiently. Let's go, Vados. Let's go back to the gods of destruction world. The words fell, and it was clear that Champa now wanted to walk away and ignore Birgit. It doesn't make much sense to stay. This trip, he has eaten enough. Maybe you have to wait a bit, Lord Champa. Vados, who heard Champa's order, had no plans to leave immediately. In her opinion, the fun begins now. If she just left, the previous battle would be in vain, and her intention to have a good relationship with Birgit would be in vain. Hearing Vado's words, Champa was obviously stunned, suddenly felt Vado's thoughts, and questioned, "Hey, Vados, do you still want to?" Seeing that Vados ignored his orders and slowly approached Birgit, Champa had an ominous feeling in his heart. Watching the approaching Vados, Birgit frowned slightly. The third order full power form of Super Saiyan Blue is maintained at its peak, always vigilant against the opponent. After all, people are really powerful. It would be miserable if an accident was really tricked by her. The serious look made Vados smile. "There's no need to be so nervous, Birgit-san. As the strongest in our 6th universe, and also the strongest Saiyan, I'm not willing to shoot at you. Also, if you want to take action against you, you can do it before, there's no need to wait until now." The words came out, but Birgit didn't let up. "If you have something to say, there's no need to beat around the bush. Although you're a beautiful woman, I don't resist you approaching me, but for a woman as dangerous as you, I can't completely let go of my guard," Birgit said seriously. "Are Vados beautiful? Really beautiful? It is the most beautiful existence among the women he has ever seen since crossing. Not to mention the beauties of the previous world compared to him." Hearing Birgit's words, Vados smiled even brighter. Even Angel, who doesn't like listening to other people's rhetoric, especially for women, complimenting their appearance is the greatest compliment. It's an honor to receive your compliment. Birgit-san is not only strong, but also very well spoken, and very pleasant to listen to. Vados laughed. As she said that, her eyes kept moving up and down Birgit's body. "I have to say, as Angel, I have been watching the universe since the birth of the 6th universe, and this is the first time I have seen a powerful human like you. However, Birgit-san should have felt it himself, your power is strong, but it doesn't seem to be perfect. If you can have my teaching, maybe you can transform again." Commenting on Birgit's Super Saiyan Blue Third Order full power, Vado's remarks can be said to have hit the key point of Birgit's current situation. It has been 2 years since he reached Super Blue 3. Even if he has cultivated to full power, it is still a little bit worse. Whether it is the strength of the power of God or the strength training of the body, Birgit has achieved the ultimate. But unfortunately, it is impossible to make a new transformation on this basis. Vado's words made Birgit care a little, and couldn't help but hesitate. "Your teaching?" "Yes, after my teaching, maybe you can become stronger and more perfect, so do you want to think about it? Or, become a candidate for gods of destruction in the 6th universe?" Vados faced Birgit through a wink, expressly. It is a rare opportunity for anyone to be taught by Angel, let alone become a gods of destruction candidate. Looking at the entire 6th universe, I am afraid that countless people have crowded their heads, queuing up to get Angel's guidance. This is Angel, especially as a traveler. Birgit clearly knows that Angel is a higher level existence than gods of destruction. If you can really get her pointers, no. In other words, Angel might be able to help him reach a higher level. "Hey, Vados, you want to make him a candidate for gods of destruction in our 6th universe, have you asked me if I agree or not?" Champa was a little angry because of Vado's self-assertion yell at Vados. Burning with anger is certain. After all, once the candidates for gods of destruction were selected, the scope involved would be huge. Simply speaking, only gods of destruction can be guided by Angel. So if Birgit wants to get Vado's guidance, becoming a gods of destruction candidate is a sure first step. However, this is not a good thing for the current gods of destruction. The reason why gods of destruction candidates exist is to prepare for the abdication of the current gods of destruction. To put it simply, now, Champa doesn't think he needs any backup. Like him, the vast majority of gods of destruction are unwilling to have gods of destruction candidates. After all, as gods of destruction, he has the same life as universe, how could he fall easily? How sad is it to be pushed down by an alternate in the process of taking the job? Therefore, most of the candidates are selected by gods of destruction himself. If gods of destruction is unwilling, no one can force them, even Angel. Of course, Angel can guide, which is equivalent to persuasion. Now, for Champa, he suspects Vados, making Birgit a gods of destruction backup without negotiation. What does it mean? Isn't that telling him that he wants to train Birgit to become the new gods of destruction of the sixth universe? How could he accept this kind of thing? Hearing Champa's roar and knowing the inner activities of Champa, Vados covered his mouth and snickered. Well, I'm just joking and talking casually, please don't be angry, Lord Champa. That being said, but whether Vados was joking or not, only she knew best in her own heart. Champa was speechless, and his forehead was full of blue veins. Birgit narrowed her eyes, her seriousness even more solemn. He didn't take Vados's words seriously, and if he did, he slipped into her trap. What are you trying to express to me? With a cold expression, Birgit's breath became a little colder. Feeling this slight change, Vados deliberately pretended to be pitiful. Cheng Cheng Chi. Don't be so cold, I'm a girl anyway. Hearing this, Birgit's eyes jumped. Girl, you old monster. I don't know how old you are to still play this game. Is it shameful? I don't have so much time to play with you, so if you don't say anything, then I won't accompany you. Hee. Birgit-san is really inhuman, but I really want to guide you. Forget it, let's get down to business. Let's get down to business first. Birgit-san, I apologize to you for the rude behavior of Champa-sama before. But there is one thing that I must ask you to do. After all, once the power conference is held, it will involve the fate of the universe. So, please think about it seriously. After all, Birgit-san is also a person in the sixth universe, like you. Such a strong man wouldn't put his fate in the hands of others, would he? If you lose, everything will be destroyed in the end, and you can't avoid disappearing with the universe. The words returned to the point, and this was what Vados really wanted to say. For Vados, the powerhouses on the bright side of the sixth universe, even if they go to the power conference, will not be able to win. If she loses in the end, everything will be in vain. Although she will not die as Angel, I have to say that after a long time, it is also nostalgic. If you can win, you don't want to lose. Birgit can easily defeat Champa, who is gods of destruction. This kind of combat power, at least in all universes, is among the best. As long as Birgit agrees to participate, the odds of the sixth universe will more than double. Hearing this, Birgit was unmoved. Champa on the other side, looking serious, also looked at Birgit, waiting for an answer. It would be good for him if he agreed. The last thing he wants is to lose. How? Birgit-san. Seeing that Birgit didn't answer, Vados smiled and asked Birgit again, as if urging him. It has already been said for this sake, there is no need to hide it. The power conference, Birgit will not fail to participate, however, not to participate casually. This time, I jumped out and fought with Champa. After all, this is also one of the goals. Champa was about to leave before, and frankly, Birgit was a little worried, because if he really didn't invite him, the follow-up would be difficult. Participate, but you can participate. As you said, my destiny will never lie to others. Birgit nodded slightly and said, pretending to ponder for a moment. As soon as these words came out, a brighter smile appeared on Vados' face, and Champa also showed a surprised and ghostly expression. Now that you are willing to participate, why did you go before? Do you have to beat him up to be happy before you participate? Before he could speak, Birgit's expression changed. She raised a finger, and said, of course, you can participate in the power conference, but I also have a request. If it can satisfy me, everything can be said. Before he could finish speaking, Birgit looked at Vados in surprise. Because it was a very complicated matter, Vados didn't even think about it, just nodded and agreed. And, what did he ask for? Champa on the side was impatient and wanted to talk and ask, but he couldn't speak. Since that's the case, let me just say it straight. If I participate in this power competition and finally win all the other universes, I hope to gain the ability to travel back and forth freely between other universes. How? Believe, for you angels, it's not such an outrageous request. No ink was left, and Birgit stopped grinding and chirping, stating her conditions. This request really exceeded my expectations. Why did Birgit-san travel to other universes? Vados hesitated. Clearly, Birgit's request was beyond her expectations. Traveling to other universes. For Angel Vados, it's really not too big of a requirement, but some requirements are not too big to show whether they can be done or not. She can indeed do it, but she still has to consider many follow-up issues. After all, the universe law clearly stipulates that, under normal circumstances, the life forms belonging to the local universe cannot go to another universe at will. Otherwise, not just the native universe will be chaotic, but the other universe will also cause chaos. Vados was hesitant, while Champa on the side was anxious. Their performance, to be honest, disappointed Birgit for a while. According to Birgit's words, since he is hesitant now, why did he promise so readily? I really feel that he is a Saiyan, a mortal, and the requirements they make are within their expectations, and they can control and satisfy them at will. It seems that Angel is not omnipotent. I didn't expect a small request to be hesitant for such a long time. It seems that my thinking is too simple. If so, then go back and forth, said Birgit, shaking her head. Disappointment is certain, but if it is really impossible, the only way to get it is to use Super Shenron to make a wish. Super Shenron. So far, the world of Dragon Ball can truly fulfill any wish. What Angel can't do, only he can do. Could it be that Birgit-san really doesn't care about the survival of the universe, the planet Sarada, or the survival of Saiyan? The ability to travel through the universe is not impossible to grant. Birgit-san wants this ability, but it's not impossible, it's just that. Vado's words were a little long-winded. Birgit wouldn't have been annoyed if she had said that at the beginning, but compared to the refreshment before, it didn't seem like a Vados. Of course I care, but what I care more about is that I don't want to be a plaything in the hands of your angels and gods. Don't think I can't guess, this all-universe power conference is just a game, it shouldn't be held, even if influenced by the 7th universe Saiyan, it shouldn't be like this. Frankly speaking, I want to accompany Saiyan in the 7th universe to fight this so-called power competition with all the lives of the universe. I don't think you gods and angels are so stupid, right? The cold words were spoken, and it also expressed Birgit's current mood. Vados stared blankly at Birgit, not only in expression, but also in shock. Unexpectedly, Birgit is not only powerful, but also has such a good mind. According to Birgit, this is indeed the truth. After all, the gods are not fools, and Angel is not a pawn in the hands of others. After all, it's just a game. Champa, who was beside him, didn't understand anything and was stunned for a moment. He was also awakened by Birgit's words. Are the gods all idiots? Is Angel an idiot? Impossible. So what is the Grand Priest? Obviously not realistic. Is it because of Zeno's words that things have developed like this? If there is no force to push on the back, how is it possible? Hey, Vados, you never told me these words. Could it be that, as this guy said, it's just a game? When these words came to his ears, Vados smiled awkwardly, and a drop of cold sweat dripped down his cheeks. Well, Lord Champa, this is not an easy game. At least, once this game is lost, it will be truly destroyed. Vado's words made Champa's face even more ugly. So, other gods of destruction also know what's going on. I'm the only one who doesn't know. Actually, this is not a serious matter. After all, whether Lord Champa knows it or not, the final result will not change. Vados didn't know how to answer, and could only use such words to prevaricate. Normally, it's fine, but this time it doesn't work. For Champa, the problem is now a bit more serious. Everyone knew that he was the only one who was kept in the dark. What does that mean? Doesn't that mean he's an idiot? Furious, at this time Champa was like an inflated balloon, and his entire face was completely flushed. It looks like it will explode in the next second. Such a scene, Birgit, is extremely boring. Frankly speaking, I don't even understand it yet. Champa is really stupid. This point, in fact, can be seen from the original work, although other gods of destruction blamed the sin on Son Goku, but to put it bluntly, what is going on? Son Goku is the outlet for all gods of destruction and Supreme Kai, and they can only complain about this Saiyan to express their deep anger. Just as Vados was about to explain, the angel scepter held by Vados suddenly burst into a special light. After a fleeting moment, the expression on Vados' face changed slightly. Champa seemed to have sensed something, and it was not easy to have another attack, ready to listen to Vados. No matter how stupid or stupid he is, he knows that Angel Scepter has passed the message. What happened? It is said that this kind of thing has rarely happened in the tens of billions of years since universe was born. Now that it has happened, it is obvious that the higher-level Grand Priest has passed the news. Lord Champa, I just got the news. It seems that the matter of the power conference has already taken shape. Lord Grand Priest asked us to go to the Supreme Kai world immediately, together with Supreme Kai, and wait for the arrangement. The words came out of Vado's mouth. At this time, Vados changed his previous attitude and became more serious. Hearing this, Champa directly lifted his spirits. It's going to be held so soon. How can it be so sudden? I don't know about that. In short, we have to hurry up. If it's too late, Lord Champa should know the consequences. Vados said. The two of you are just talking to me. Let Birgit take a deep breath next to her. As a traveler, how could he not know what stage the plot has reached? God knows, it will come so soon. If nothing else, the All-Universe Power Conference will be in the next few days. According to the promotion of the plot, this time it must be the Grand Priest announcing the holding of the Power Conference, and by the way, the basic rules and formats are also told to Gods of Destruction and Supreme Kai. Then, after an hour, there will be an outpost of the Power Assembly, which is the Prospect Assembly, where Son Goku, Son Gohan and Majin Buu of the 7th Universe will play against Bergamo, Lavanda, and Basil of the 9th Universe. After satisfying the curiosity of Xeno in the future, in another 48 hours, it will be the official competition of the Power Conference. Chapter 31. Then, Lord Champa, without further ado, let's go now. The words said that Vados suddenly forgot what they were struggling with before, and also forgot Birgit. Then let's go. I didn't expect this to happen so quickly. If I knew I should have listened to you, I would have settled the issue of the contestants 2 days ago. The incident happened suddenly, but he already knew that it would be what happened. At this time, facing the call of Grand Priest, Champa only nodded in agreement. Just about to go to the Supreme Kai world with Vados, and suddenly reacted. The current problem has not been solved. Champa paused, and Vados involuntarily raised his hand and patted his forehead. Really, because of the summons of the Grand Priest, the strongest person in our universe has been left behind. I'm really sorry, Birgit-san. But it's a matter of urgency, and you must have heard it. The conversation returned, the attention of Vados and Champa was once again focused, and Birgit turned away from her memory. So, the so-called Power Conference is really going to be held, and my answer is still the same as before. With a casual voice, Birgit didn't plan to get involved for the time being. The Power Conference cannot be spared, and he is indispensable, but now is not the time, and he does not want to lie in the muddy water in advance. Your own will is right. But a lot of times, things often backfire. The world is impermanent and ever-changing. Hey, I agree with the condition you just mentioned. As long as you can win this Power Conference in place of our 6th universe, Vados will teach you the ability to travel through universes. How about it? Champa said suddenly. Not only surprised Birgit, but even Vados opened his mouth, not knowing how to answer for a while. Lord Champa, aren't you a little sloppy like this? This is the ability to travel through the universe. Vados complained slightly. This is not a good thing. Humph, stop talking nonsense, I will bear the consequences. Anyway, even if you taught him this ability, once he really travels through the universe, he won't ignore it, right? It's like I want to travel to the 7th universe. With his hips on his hips, Vados couldn't help laughing and crying. Can this be the same? Champa is the Gods of Destruction, and as Angel, she is normal. But not Birgit, he's just a Saiyan. Seeing that Vados was still a little worried, Champa said, okay. If you don't answer, I will take it as your promise. But you must know that if you lose the game, you don't need me to destroy it. This universe includes me. Shall perish. Champa's words made Birgit feel flattered. Before, I thought this fat cat was unreasonable, arrogant and mindless, but now it suddenly looks a lot more pleasing to the eye. Then, I'll be the right angel to agree to my terms. Birgit said with a frown on the corner of her mouth. The contract was reached, and Vados on the side only shook his head helplessly. Since that's the case, should Birgit-san come with us to the Supreme Kai world? After all, what the Grand Priest wants to announce as the specifics of the Power Conference. Vados took the initiative to invite, although Champa was reluctant on the surface, but he could only acquiesce. Even if Birgit agreed, they would have reconciled temporarily, but the previous hatred would not dissipate easily. Okay, Then I'll follow you to see it. Saying so, she was still a little reluctant, but in fact, Birgit had to go too. The next second, the Super Saiyan Blue Third Order full power state was released. Then, Birgit-san will grab my shoulders. There is still a long way to go to the Supreme Kai world. I have to use hyperspace jump to get there quickly. If one accidentally fails to grasp firmly, Birgit-san may fall into another dimension in the space-time slit. Even I can't save it. Vados said, raising Angel's scepter a little to the void. Don't worry, I'm not that stupid. Feeling Angel's strength up close, Birgit placed her hand on Vados' shoulder. Before waiting for Birgit to feel how good Vados is, a mysterious force suddenly emerged, wrapping the bodies of the three, followed by a burst of colorful rays of light. The three turned into a stream of light in an instant, crossing the void space and disappearing into the starry sky here. At this moment, Sarada planet, above the plane, countless Saiyans gather here. There is no doubt that they were all attracted by the previous war. Although the planet Sarada has now returned to a calm state, it seems that nothing happened before. But those who arrived earlier have witnessed the change in the situation with their own eyes. That kind of scene is too terrifying. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, it would be unbelievable to say it. Completely beyond their comprehension. At this moment, Caulifla and Kale were still looking up at the sky, unable to perceive the presence of breath, and their moods became extraordinarily anxious. Birgit is heaven to them. Now the situation is unclear. Even if you believe in Birgit, you can't help but worry. What's the matter? After Brother Birgit and Gods of Destruction hit the planet, the breath can no longer be detected. Is it because our strength is too weak? Or is the distance too far? Babble. Kale stood beside Caulifla. It's all right, Sister Caulifla, nothing will happen. I believe that Brother Birgit will not lose. If he loses, the Gods of Destruction will definitely come again to destroy the salad, to the planet. Kale was very smart and thought of the most crucial point. If he loses, then Champa will never give up. Champa didn't show up, so it proved that Birgit didn't lose. I also encountered such a situation in the competition with the 7th universe. In the words of Saiyan of the 7th universe, after transforming into a Super Saiyan God, the breath is no longer an ordinary breath. We mortals cannot easily I feel it. Gabe spoke suddenly. As soon as these words came out, Caulifla and Kai were stunned. So, it's Brother Birgit, is he a god? It turned out to be like this, it's just that we can't feel the breath. Located in the Supreme Kai world of the 6th universe. At this moment, Supreme Kai Foy of the 6th universe and his servants have already received the news from the Grand Priest. They made all the preparations at the first time, waiting for the coming of Gods of Destruction Champa and Angel Vados. Because both Gods of Destruction and Supreme Kai must be present, the Grand Priest will arrive and announce the event. After waiting for about a minute, with a colorful light falling from the sky, the Holy Land of the 6th universe will also have the biggest event in history. Fua knew who the visitor was, and moved forward cautiously, rubbing his hands together, for fear that one would anger the visitor. Supreme Kai, ostensibly one of the highest gods in the universe, is actually the god at the lowest level. Compared with Gods of Destruction, the real status is too far away. This is especially evident in the 7th universe and 6th universe. The Supreme Kai of these two universes is also the Supreme Kai with the most crotch and strength. That, Lord Champa, you are finally here. I have been waiting for you here for a long time. Before the colorful rays of light dissipated, Fua respectfully spoke to the position of the light. Obviously, the timidity is extremely small. What he didn't expect was that this time, not only Gods of Destruction Champa and Angel Vados came, but also a person. An unexpected existence, also Saiyan, whom he knew in the early years. It's been a long time, Supreme Kai Fova, you're still the same as the last time we met, you haven't changed at all. No sarcasm or contempt, Birgit's words made Fova sweat. Birgit, I didn't expect you to come too. Lord Champa brought you with you. Could it be that you have already decided to participate in the power conference? Fua's words were very humble. This time Birgit came, and that was all he thought. After all, he also thought about suggesting Birgit in the last martial arts conference with the 7th universe, but Gabe first recommended it and was directly rejected by Birgit. To be honest, as Supreme Kai, you shouldn't need to look at other people's faces like this, but he doesn't have that strength. He can't afford to offend Champa, nor can he offend Birgit. You must know that the cholera universe made him helpless to deal with the existence of evil. If it weren't for Birgit, something big would have happened, and now universe would not be so peaceful. It's also to blame that Champa was always lazy and sleeping, no matter what happened in universe. For Foy, Birgit is the righteous warrior of the sixth universe. Especially in the past many years, as long as he encountered problems and things that were difficult to settle, he would basically entrust Birgit. Of course, Birgit won't work in vain, just like Birgit's understanding of teleportation, and the Supreme Kai's help to him in terms of space attainments. Otherwise, it would not be possible to make such a big improvement in instant transmission solely on its own. Forget it. After all, it is a major event involving the sixth universe. At this time, Birgit instead showed a sense of righteousness that made both Champa and Vados ashamed. It can only be said that it deepened the image in the hearts of Champa and Vados, and let them know that Birgit really does whatever he wants, more gods of destruction than gods of destruction. By the way, you two know each other, Champa said in order to interject. Well, you think we've all been communicating like this, don't we know each other? What you should ask is, how did you know each other? Champa, by the way, you have to thank me, because if it wasn't for me a few years ago, if so, this universe is already in a mess. Looking at Champa with contempt, Birgit said as if he was preaching. Huh, are you kidding me? Champa was obviously unacceptable, looking like he was going to eat people. Actually, it's probably like this. Knowing that Champa is not easy to fool, Supreme Kai Fawa began to explain. After a brief remark, it was enough to tell what happened over the years. It also made Champa blushed. Feelings, he is really lazy. Forget it, I don't want to worry about other things now, I'll just wait here for the next order from Grand Priest. Champa still has the ability to change the subject. I saw him stretch his lazy waist, find a quiet place to sit down, and cast a menacing look at Foy's god servant. The servant of God was so frightened that he hurriedly left the place to prepare tea. Apparently, it's a common occurrence. Vados followed and sat down, waiting for the reception of the servant of the gods. As for Birgit, she folded her arms indifferently and leaned against a big tree beside her. Grand Priest, he had never seen it before. Now we will soon see the power ceiling of this Dragon Ball world. To be honest, I am a little excited and a little excited. Angel is a powerful being he cannot perceive, so what about Grand Priest? After just a few minutes, the space in the Supreme Kai world suddenly distorted, and a mysterious force came out from the distorted space, eventually forming a pink-purple energy vortex. This feeling, the sense of threat was overwhelming, and the instant deterrent force made Birgit take a cold breath, her expression extremely serious. When he turned his eyes, he saw a vague figure in the center of the distorted space. An existence filled with a powerful and mysterious atmosphere walked out of this distorted space. Without a doubt, the Grand Priest. It looks small in stature, but it is more important. Wearing a blue god's costume, there is a huge white ring behind it, which is different from Angel, but not the same. Every move was implicated in a terrifying aura that seemed to exist. If not for the current state, Birgit will only feel ordinary. Grand Priest, a more mysterious and powerful being than Angel, and an omnipotent representative in the world of Dragon Ball, completely invisible. Secretly, Birgit was comparing herself to Grand Priest. He tried to sense the fluctuations of the Grand Priest's breath, and it was fine that he didn't sense it. Once he sensed it, Birgit felt more and more insignificant. Unfathomable. In addition to this word, a more appropriate description is that he is just an ant, but he is looking up to the size of universe. He couldn't feel the slightest fluctuation at all, but the coercion brought him invisibly made him involuntarily want to worship. This is the Grand Priest. Far more exaggerated than in the original. It's been a long time since I came to the Supreme Kai world of the sixth universe. Compared with the Supreme Kai world of other universes, this place has always been unique. The Grand Priest came, and he put his hands back on his back. He watched it for the first time. Everything I got here, and I sighed. The Supreme Kai world of the sixth universe does have something unique. It's just that this is unique. It's not too good, it's not too bad, it's just weird. I don't know about other Supreme Kai worlds, but Birgit also knows that the Supreme Kai world of the 6th universe and the Supreme Kai world of the 7th universe are much different. Specifically, it can only be said that this Supreme Kai world has been transformed and is very suitable for mortals to live in. Moreover, this Supreme Kai world has indeed taken in a lot of mortal species. Some have long since become extinct, and some have been newly created. This is also a personal favorite of Supreme Kai Foi. Even if the nether world is extinct, he just wants to keep some. To put it simply, this god realm is not only the god realm of Supreme Kai, but also a paradise for ordinary life. Facing Grand Priest's ridicule, Foi had already been frightened and fell to the ground. Like his servant, he worshipped and shouted, "See Grand Priest." Similar to him, gods of destruction Champa had already shouted all over his body, fearing that he would anger the Grand Priest, so he bowed 90 degrees respectfully and shouted the same words. Only Angel Vados looked at the Grand Priest with a calm expression and a half-smile. For her, Grand Priest is also her father, so as long as it is not in front of Master Zeno or other angels, she basically maintains a slightly cold attitude. As for Birgit, at this moment, she stood there coldly watching, her eyes unwavering. For these superficial skills, he will not do it. Grand Priest is indeed no trivial matter, more frightening than Angel, but he also has his own heart. Even if they are suppressed, they are absolutely unwilling to admit defeat. Of course, his performance was not in the eyes of the Grand Priest. How could a supreme power standing in the heaven and earth care about an ant doing something disrespectful to him? No gift, get up, all of you. The calm words came out of Grand Priest's mouth. As Champa and Foi stood up, Grand Priest also summoned a bundle of purple scrolls from his hands and slowly opened it. According to the content on the scroll, he also began to read out, according to the order issued by Lord Zeno, hereby inform the gods and angel of the 6th universe, Wangli 3.135.5,603 days, from 157 o'clock onwards will gather the selection of each universe. Each of the 10 contestants will hold a power conference. As the Grand Priest read out the entire contents of the power conference word by word, Champa, Fuir, the servants of the gods, and Birgit, who were present, all concentrated their minds. Although you know the plot, but hearing it in person is a different feeling. In simple words, what should come, finally came. A power conference that brings together the 10 strongest players from each universe. Also defined by Birgit as the game of the game. All the content, that's all for now. Universe 6 is the last universe I've notified. According to the time you said, there are only the last 50 minutes to prepare. After 50 minutes, the preview conference will be held. Then, you all go to watch. Grand Priest put away the scroll and said, 50 minutes, so fast, Champa exclaimed. Although, this preview conference is different from the power conference, and it has nothing to do with the 6th universe. But it is also a match between the 7th universe and the 9th universe, and it happened too fast. Do you still have any questions? Gods of Destruction Champa of the 6th universe. Looking at Champa, Grand Priest's words were full of intimidation. This is no trivial repression, and Champa was so frightened that he was about to lose his soul. No, you misunderstood, I just said casually. Champa didn't dare to talk more. It can be seen how deep the fear of Grand Priest is. On the other hand, Supreme Kai Fawa, who was on the side, didn't know where the courage came from, and suddenly asked, Lord Grand Priest, we will not be late for the preview conference. It's just that since the power conference is going to be held, where is it? How about holding it? It doesn't seem to be mentioned in the imperial decree given by Zeno-sama. Hearing this, Grand Priest smiled with relief. The venue has been decided, it's in the boundless world. The realm of nothing. Isn't that place empty of anything? There is no time, no space, it's a world full of eternity and nothingness. Champa said in surprise. Although he is lazy and doesn't care about anything, he still knows and masters the basic information. It is true that there is nothing in the boundless world, but because there is nothing, you can compete as much as you want. As a Grand Priest, I will also build a ring for the competition in advance. By the way, this conference is the winner's prize. I have to praise you, because you provided 3 wishing beads, but saved me a lot of trouble. Grand Priest said while praising Champa. This also made Champa flirt with celestial spirits, and was praised by the Grand Priest for the first time. where I should be able to serve the Grand Priest. By the way, the Grand Priest, since I have a reward, what kind of prize will the winning universe get? No. Grand Priest's answer was more direct. These words made Champa and Fui take a deep breath at the same time. I knew in my heart that it was a futile fight. There are no prizes yet. But one thing is clear, the universe that loses the game will be wiped out by Zeno-sama. So, don't relax just because there are no prizes, thinking about just fooling around. Among the 12 universes this time, the average level of the 6th universe is also quite low. Grand Priest added. Such a thing has already been made clear. It's just that it's even more terrifying now. In simple words, there is no room for negotiation. We understand, Lord Grand Priest. At this time, Vados answered. She knew that if she didn't speak again, the day would be dead. Very good. Then, see you in 48 minutes. He nodded, and in the next second, the distortion of time and space began to gradually repair. As the Grand Priest vanished like nothingness, everything was at peace. Grand Priest finally left. When he left, gods of destruction Champa, Supreme Kai Foi and the servants of God who were present were greatly relieved. After all, that was the Grand Priest. For them, it is the immediate boss of the immediate boss. Once people are unhappy, they can easily make them lose their jobs, or even never exist again. Next, what should I do? Lord Champa, Vados couldn't help but ask when he saw a few people calm down. What can I do? Hurry up and find someone. Counting Birgit, the only people who can use it now are Hitter, Gabe, Walter Magetta, Frost, and Berdamer. Champa raised his brows and raised his hands. Hold your chest and think carefully. There are still more than 40 minutes before the preview conference, and it can be imagined that it will not be too late for the power conference. Therefore, we must quickly find 4 more candidates. It's easy to say, but Lord Champa never seems to pay attention to the strong players in our universe. It's not easy to find 4 more players. Vados squinted and teased. She's telling the truth, because Champa has always been a loner and doesn't know enough about his own universe. Isn't this still Fua? Hey, you old boy should have a suitable candidate, right? Don't tell me that you, Supreme Kai, who created planets and life, don't know how many powerful people in the Nether universe are worth recruiting. There is no way, no clue. Champa turned on the dumping mode. Let him find it. Just kidding, what year and month will it be found? Supreme Kai Fua sweated profusely when he heard the words, that. Mr. Champa, there are certainly many powerful people in the universe, but if you want me to look for it at once, I have no direction. Embarrassed and overwhelmed. After all, it happened so suddenly. Moreover, this should be a matter of Champa, because only after passing the level of Champa can it be considered qualified. Even if he, the Supreme Kai, thinks it can be done, but if he chooses a bad person badly, he will have to take responsibility in the end. Huh, are you kidding me? My requirements are not high, as long as they all meet the strength of this kid Birgit. The 6th universe is so big, I don't believe there are no other people. Hold your chest to release the pressure. It feels like the meaning of Shiwei if a word disagrees. This also made Foi even more broken. What is this requirement? It is a miracle that a universe can give birth to such a strong man as Birgit. Still using Birgit as the base standard, how to find this special? I think Lord Champa should stop forcing Fua. The 2 female Saiyans on Sarada planet before, aren't they quite suitable? Besides, maybe they can become our secret weapon. Vados said suddenly, like it's to help Supreme Kai Fua, and it seems to be deliberately changing the topic. The words caught Champa's attention, and he suddenly realized that he clenched his fist with one hand and tapped the palm of the other hand. Yeah. How could I forget that? Although those 2 female ghosts are very rude, they are indeed stronger than Gabe. That kid is amazing, Yossi. The 2 Saiyans can also participate. Decided in one go, Champa ignored Vado's second half of his sentence. In the end, there are 2 people missing, which is also the most headache. Seeing their tangled appearance, Birgit, who was beside the big tree, was very speechless. In the original book, that is, because no one could be found anymore, the 3 players in the 6th universe stretched their hips very much. Not to mention the 2 Namek people, Sayonal and Piranha, they are still a little strong, and they assimilated the entire Namek family, but that Dr. Loda really made up the number. Of course, now that he is involved, Dr. Lotta's role is lost. But the remaining two, if they were looking for Sonal and Piranha, were really not qualified. In the 6th universe, if you lose, there is only one hit who can take on the big responsibility. Even if Califra and Kale merged in the end, resulting in the birth of the integrated warrior Kefla, which slightly reversed the situation, it was nothing in the end. It was at this time that Foa suddenly spoke, and he thought of something decisively, so he recommended, I don't know, can Namek people be okay? In our universe, Namek people are very peace-loving humanoid species, and they were when they were created. They also set the standard of high combat power, just like Saiyan. Namek person. This name is a bit familiar. Champa reached out and grabbed his chin, thinking. Seeing this, Vados on the side said directly, has Lord Champa forgotten? During the competition with the 7th universe, Namek people were sent there. Although his performance was not particularly outstanding, his unique skill was suddenly lost. The protective shield I created with Whis broke down. I see. Is it that race? Are the Namek people of our universe that strong? Champa asked. After all, it's a twin universe. Even if it's not as good, it won't be too bad. Saiyan's comparison, isn't that what it is? Vados said with a smile on his face. These words calmed Champa's shaky heart. Then there is no big problem with 10 candidates. After this preview conference is over, we will go to the Namek Ball. Having said that, the contestants of the power contest have been decided. However, Birgit, who shouldn't have said anything, couldn't help but said, if I go, maybe that guy will participate. If you go, I'm afraid you won't be able to invite a particularly strong guy. There are so many strong people in the universe, but most of the strong people know that the whole universe power conference is just an angel's game, so even if they are invited, they are definitely not willing to become puppets. Champa went to 6th universe's Namek Ball, at best, just like the original, with Sonal and Piranha in the game. Birgit had better ideas. If he comes forward, he can invite that super Namek person to take action. That guy's strength, but he was once troubled. Since it's an angel's game, the angels will be blinded. Also let them know that mortals are not really free to play and control. You guy, there is a more suitable candidate. No, you are so kind. Champa questioned Birgit's words. Believe it or not, it's up to you. Anyway, it's true, Birgit said to Champa and Vados. Watching Birgit, Champa didn't know how to answer for a moment. For Birgit, his cognition is obviously not so deep, so he doesn't know whether Birgit is telling the truth or joking. If it's true, that's good, but if it's calculated, it's different. Vados on the side watched Birgit without speaking for a long time. As Angel, she seemed to know what Birgit wanted to do right away. In particular, she had heard of the existence Birgit was about to invite. Even if she has been with gods of destruction Champa, she doesn't pay much attention to the universe of the lower world, but I have to say that there are some heavyweights in the universe, and she knows all about it. Involving the Namek people is the only one that exists. Mastered the power of the dragon god and developed a transformation belonging to the super Namek. If Birgit's strength ranks first in the universe, then the strength of that super Namek person is at least in the top 5, or even the top 3. If you compare it purely with hit, the super Namek person may be even better. Is Birgit-san going to invite that person? Isn't he already? Supreme Kai Fawa, who reacted, said in horror. For him, if that Namek person, that is really a big deal. Because the Namek people he said all belong to the high-strength and kind-hearted people, except for the Namek people. But I have to say that they are indeed the most powerful Namek people. He still remembered that 5 years ago, an evil Namek person who had left his hometown and left the Namek Ball returned to his hometown and killed his fellow clan. In the end, it was Birgit's shot that resolved the disaster. Later, after the Super Namek was woken up and abolished by Birgit, he stayed on the Namek Ball. There has been no news for so many years. It seems that Supreme Kai already knows who I am going to go to. Compared with the others, I think he is the most suitable player. Moreover, the Namek of the 7th universe will also play, and he will deal with it, it's also the most appropriate. His eyes narrowed slightly, and Birgit's words fell. In this case, Champa did not understand, but both Foy and Vados knew. But, wasn't that Paladin abolished by you at the time? Even if you had the strength to participate in the beginning, but now, it has become. Foy questioned. Hearing this, Birgit smiled again. You want to say that he has become a cripple, right? You can rest assured of this, if an existence like him becomes a cripple so easily, then to be honest, he is not a super Namek after being beaten up by me, he has changed. After so many years, I believe his strength will only become stronger. Is that so? Fui dripped cold sweat on his forehead. This time, another character that was extremely difficult to get along with and control appeared. If that's the case, then Birgit-san really has to go there personally. Even if Lord Champa goes, it's useless. Vados added a sentence intentionally or unintentionally. This made Champa on the side look like a man in the air, and shouted with anger, hey hey hey. What do you all think of my gods of destruction? Also, what are you talking about? Quote. Champa's violent temper came up, and he became a fat cat that was furious. He didn't make any sense. The one who will pay attention to him, that is, Vados, doesn't know how she carried it, well. Lord Champa only needs to know that the Namek people that Birgit-san invited to invite are very strong. After that, Vados looked at Birgit again and said, so, the 9th candidate is already available, and the 10th candidate, Birgit-san has any ideas, or suggestions? 9 people, it's all together. The last person, Birgit, has already had an idea. Now that you have chosen to speak, you will never speak only half of it. After all, it's a problem that the entire universe has to face, so the demon world can't be alone. Demon King Hill, isn't it suitable? What do you think? With a slight smile, Birgit's words awakened the 3 people present again. Demon Lord Hill, the 6th universe is known as the strongest king of the devil. The scariest character ever. Humph, that stinky queen. If you hadn't mentioned it, I would have almost forgotten her. She was daring to come to challenge this god. If you hadn't stopped Vados, she would have been destroyed by me. Champa recalling a certain past event, he opened his mouth and said, his expression sarcastic and cold. That being said, now it seems that it was a good thing that I stopped Lord Champa from fighting. Now I really need to use a character like her. Vados said with a smile. Birgit did give the best advice. First, Periton, and then Demon King Hill, these 2 characters may not be as strong as Birgit, but they are very close to the level of gods of destruction, and they are not worse than hit. The 10th player is settled. At this point, even if he was very upset with that hill, Champa could only accept it. But for Supreme Kai Foi, he has been frightened. He was already timid, and he wanted to see these most unwilling existences in one breath. Can he be psychologically balanced? ... Time flies. In the blink of an eye, 40 minutes passed. The preview conference is about to be held. Here, gods of destruction Champa, Supreme Kai Fua, and Angel Vados are all ready and waiting for the call of the Grand Priest. Birgit has already made up her mind to go. It doesn't make much sense for him to stay here. It was at this time that Vados's words made him a little interested. By the way, why don't Birgit-san go together? Just in time, I can get to know the players of the 7th universe and the 9th universe. As soon as the words came out, Birgit became interested. Champa was a little shocked. Hey, is this okay? If the Grand Priest knew about it, wouldn't he say we cheated? Well, what does it matter? I think other universes should have the same idea. I can't help it, other universes will bring 1 or 2 players with them. Vados winked and smiled. Avertisement. Located outside the 12 universes, it is also the highest realm above the 12 universes. Xeno Temple, located here. The space at the entrance suddenly flashed a ripple. As the space was distorted, the time-space tunnel was slowly opened. White light flashed through the time-space tunnel, and in a blink of an eye, Supreme Kai Fua, Angel Vados, Gods of Destruction Champa, and Birgit in black robes appeared here. At the invitation of Vados, Birgit also came to this unexplored territory. I have to say that I didn't want to come, but since I can come, it's good to see Angel and Gods of Destruction from other universes first. As for the match between the 7th universe and the 9th universe, there is absolutely nothing to watch. In the end, it's just 3 test matches, and it's just for the future Xeno to have a look, so that the future Xeno, like the modern Xeno, is full of expectations for the power conference. Sure enough, this feeling of witnessing is completely different from the previous imagination. This is the highest place in the world, the palace where Xeno lives. He sighed inwardly, Staring at the full-shaped palace in front of him, Birget was somewhat shocked. It seems that we were the first to arrive. None of the other universe's gods have arrived yet, Lord Champa. Looking around, Vados said with a chuckle, not finding the gods of destruction an angel of other universes. HMPH. Don't confuse me with those guys. As a gods of destruction, my awareness has always been very high. Champa said triumphantly. Birget on the side was speechless. Honestly, it's nothing to be proud of. On the contrary, the more obedient and punctual he is, the more he is like a watchdog. Then, let's go, Lord Grand Priest should be waiting for us inside. Glancing at Champa with a smile in his eyes, Vados took the lead and walked towards the entrance of Zeno Temple. Champa followed with Birget and Foy. Entering the palace, walking on the crystal road emitting a faint blue light, each step, these crystals will reflect a different light, illuminating the darkness for people. All around, there are stars and rivers in the sky, like a completely lit universe. At the end of the passage, a man in a blue god's costume appeared. He is the Grand Priest. To be precise, what Birget saw before was just a clone, and the current Grand Priest is the real deity. I didn't expect it to be so unfathomable. Seeing it again, it's even more unpredictable. Birget thought to herself. It gave him an invisible pressure before, but now he only sees it at close range, and the irresistible aura is even heavier. I should say, he is indeed the leader of Angel, the man who can control Zeno. And the combat power in this world belongs to the absolute ceiling. Just the coercion of standing there makes people dare not act rashly. See Lord Grand Priest. Gods of Destruction Champa and Supreme Kai Foy walked in front of Grand Priest, and the two made extremely respectful and exaggerated movements. The two gods fell to their knees and buried their heads on the ground. Master Grand Priest. Compared with them, Angel Vados seemed much more relaxed. She just bowed slightly and walked through the process with the father. All three saluted the Grand Priest respectfully, with only Birget standing still. Although the coercion of Grand Priest is indeed amazing, but even if he is inferior, he will not bow down to Grand Priest. This can be regarded as Birget's unruly. This move also caught the attention of Grand Priest. Those deep eyes stared at Birget, as if seeing through his past and present. A look of interest appeared on Grand Priest's face. He had been following Birget long ago. It can be said that Birget has known since the moment he was born in this world. He also understood that Birget, in a sense, was not of this world. However, he still let Birget stay here, and he has not seen him for decades. The kid he paid attention to at the time has grown into a strong enough to match gods of destruction, and even surpass gods of destruction. Grand Priest held his chin in his right hand, looked at Birget, nodded secretly, and expressed satisfaction. This kind of atmosphere is a bit dignified, weird, and unpredictable. As Angel, Vados also became nervous at the moment. Cold sweat fell on his forehead, and he forced a smile. Champa, the gods of destruction, was terrified by Birget's behavior. What is this kid doing? This is the Grand Priest, so hurry up and salute. Champa was extremely nervous, sweat dripped down his cheeks like a waterfall, and his face was extremely ugly. Supreme Kai Foy on the side was also startled by Birget's actions. Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers, but the one in front of them is not a tiger. This is the supreme god in this world. Grand Priest. It's okay if you don't behave politely, but don't implicate us. Time just passed by. I don't know how many seconds passed before Grand Priest nodded thoughtfully. The existence of such a warrior in the sixth universe is beyond my expectations. For many years, I have never seen such a pure human being who can cultivate the power of God. Grand Priest stared at Birget and praised. The words fell, and the hanging hearts of Angel Vados and gods of destruction Champa finally let go. They breathed a sigh of relief in their hearts. Just now, they were almost scared to death. After he was relieved, his eyes fell on Birget, feeling unbelievable. Even the Supreme God, Lord Grand Priest, speaks so highly of Birget. It can be seen how good Birget is. Then, without further ado, I'll send you to the ring at the outpost of the preview conference. Grand Priest stopped wasting time. As his words fell, the crystal beneath his feet burst into light, and the invisible mysterious power spread. Everyone is rapt. When this power appeared, Birget was aware of it, and he magnified his perception to feel this mysterious power carefully. Different from Angel's space teleportation, this is a purer and more powerful space force, and it is also a force that can instantly teleport people and objects to another space. The supreme god of the Dragon Ball world. Grand Priest. Having seen it in person is far more deterrent than seeing it in anime, he seems to know everything. Grand Priest. The terrifying ability surprised Birgit quite a bit. The light that the crystal bloomed became more and more dazzling, and when the light dissipated, the three had been transferred to a brand new space. They came to the viewing area of their own universe. Except for them, it seems that not a single gods of destruction has arrived in other universes. As the first universe to arrive, we still have to wait. Standing on the suspended platform, Vados said. Looking around, there are 11 floating platforms. This is all in preparation for the other 11 universes. Wait, just to see what other universes have prepared. By this time, Champa was not in a hurry. To him, it seems like he has arrived and won't be criticized by the Grand Priest. That's fine. I don't know, this time against the 9th universe, will the 7th universe still be the same as when it faced us? Supreme Kai Fovelho was a little worried. I don't know what he was thinking. Cut. It's better to lose, and to eliminate the arrogance of that guy from Beerus. Champa said with a vicious look on his face. Seeing his performance like this, Vados on the side expressed that he wanted to cry without tears. To her, this host is unreliable, but she is really cute. Birgit didn't feel anything. She stood firmly on one side with her arms folded, and didn't say a word. He was still thinking about the words of Grand Priest before, and he was also thinking about the feelings he had sensed before. ... Time seems to be the next second, and it seems that a long time has passed. Suddenly, at the 10th universe position, a dazzling white light flashed. After the white light, several figures appeared, and it was the arrival of Angel Kessi, Gods of Destruction Rumshi, Supreme Kai Kavas from the 10th universe. Then, there is the 11th universe. Angel Makalita, Gods of Destruction Vermut, Supreme Kai K, and Topo, also in black. Like the original, he's here too. Birgit's attention was immediately focused on the past, sensing it. Seeing the 11th universe also brought outsiders, Champa looked proud, and it seemed that he had called Birgit from the very beginning, which was his foresight. That guy Vermut, did he really bring contestants? Humph, that's cunning, he couldn't help but mutter. This is ironic. Of course, it is only for myself and my own people, and others cannot hear it. The second sentence has not yet been said, and then the viewing area of each universe shines. Angel Karen, Gods of Destruction Likir, Supreme Kairu from the 8th universe. First universe, Angel of Amo, Gods of Destruction IWNE, Supreme Kai Anat. Third universe, Angel Canberley, Gods of Destruction Moscow, Supreme Kai Al. Fourth universe, Angel Konik, Gods of Destruction Quitella, Supreme Kai Kul. Second universe, Angel Sava, Gods of Destruction Hareth, Supreme Kai Pel. Fifth universe, Angel Kukardal, Gods of Destruction Eric, Supreme Kai Oguma. 12th universe, Angel Mardinu, Gods of Destruction King, Supreme Kai Agu. Except for the 9th universe and the 7th universe, everyone is here. Birgit's eyes kept shooting. At first glance, he was really startled. All the combat power indexes of Gods of Destruction appeared in front of his eyes. The weakest were Kiongo level units, and even had the strength of 1 Gods of Destruction. The limit of the Ditch unit level has been reached. Gods of Destruction Quitella, the combat power value is 9,999 grooves. Only the superficial combat power data has reached 9,999 grooves, which is only 1 step away from reaching the 11th dimension. If the opponent bursts out with all his strength, at least it is the existence of the unit level, the god of the 11th element level. I have to say, Birgit has guessed before that there are very individual existences in Gods of Destruction, and they are extremely powerful. Now that I see it with my own eyes, I am really shocked. Even if he is not afraid, but with this strength, if he wants to deal with it, he has to take out the Super Blue 3. Quitella is so powerful, so the strongest Gods of Destruction is not the 10th dimension level at all. You must know that Beerus in the original book can fight the gods alone and is not weak, and the Mouse Gods of Destruction Quitella is even more of him's nemesis. With my current combat power, it is not really beyond the realm of Gods of Destruction. In Gods of Destruction, there are still beings who can compete with me. I have a long way to go. Birgit murmured in her heart. Time, unknowingly, another minute passed silently. At this moment, in a position that is still vacant, gods of destruction Sidra, Angel Mojito, Supreme Kai Luo and the 3 players they brought to the outpost, Red Wolf Basil, the Yellow Wolf Lavanda and the Black Wolf Bergamo descend. All the gods' eyes were focused, and even Birgit's eyes swept over everyone in the 9th universe. Except for Angel Mojito, everyone else and God's combat power values entered his eyes. Sidra's combat power is not too high, and it is basically the same level as Champa. As for the Supreme Kai Luoer, the combat power value is similar to that of Fua, and it is considered a waste of waste. If there are 3 wolves, the strength will be so-so. A unit located in the 6th dimension, Jing. Of course, this shouldn't be full strength, but with full strength, Dingtian will be at the 7th dimension. Ong, single quote. A wave of space fluctuations came. In that last missing position, a flash of white light followed by Angel Whis, gods of destruction Beerus of the 7th universe, and 3 contestants, Son Goku, Son Gohan, Majin Buu. No, not yet. There is a character who comes to play soy sauce, the world champion Satan. Finally waited for this moment, the warrior of the 7th universe, the protagonist of the original book. Son Goku. Birgit clenched her fist slightly and relaxed again. His eyes were locked on the auditorium of the 7th universe. In the same way, except Angel, the combat power data of all the personnel entered his line of sight. Gods of destruction Beerus, but on the surface, the combat power is only stable at 1000 ditch units, but it is more mysterious than gods of destruction Quitella. There is no dispute, the strongest gods of destruction, there will be no fakes. Son Goku, normal combat power is 1000 Gai. Son Gohan, the normal combat power is 10 Beijing. Majin Buu, with a combat power of 5000 Jing. Satan, 10 combat power, rubbish. To be honest, Birgit was disappointed to see here. His expectations were a little too high, and his disappointment was too great. Even Son Goku, the strongest warrior in the 7th universe, is a unit with only Gai's normal combat power, even if it is not full strength, but the highest unit will not reach Z's unit. Compared with him, there is a difference of 108,000 miles. The normality between them is like the difference between heaven and earth. A 7th dimension, a 9th dimension. Birgit can even fight Son Goku's Super Saiyan Blue at full power with normal power. The people from the 7th universe have finally arrived. Birgit-san can take a good look at them. That person with a naive smile is exactly Saiyan and Son Goku who showed their skills in the martial arts tournament with the 7th universe before. Vados he couldn't help but said something to Birgit. As soon as these words came out, Birgit nodded slightly. Frankly speaking, I don't need her introduction, but it's a good thing to have her introduction. After all, he can't just know who the other party is. Humph, if you hadn't rejected this god last time, maybe these things wouldn't have happened. That Son Goku is really hateful, Champa said with a little anger. Obviously, it was the loss of the game and the occurrence of such a thing that made it difficult for him to accept. Hee. Champa's words made Vados smile slightly, but he didn't answer, he just continued to look at Birgit and said, how does Birgit-san feel? If there were some expectations before, then the most disappointment is now. This kind of strength has set off this bloody storm. It should be said that his life is good. With a casual comment, Birgit stopped watching Son Goku. Really, too weak. Perhaps, only at the power conference, Son Goku, who reached the peak of Ultra Instinct, can make him a little interested. The current Son Goku, without the slightest flower head. If he makes a move, one finger can kill him. Really, it's no wonder, after all, Birgit-san is a character that even Lord Champa has defeated, so it's only natural to dislike Son Goku. Vados covered his mouth and snickered. This made Champa angry again. Hey, Vados, you are talking about this again. Hee. I was wrong, Lord Champa. With an affectionate joking, Vados obediently closed his mouth, but his eyes remained on Birgit, full of curiosity. She looked forward to seeing what would happen if Birgit and Son Goku played against each other. After all, Son Goku has created quite a few miracles. With the arrival of everyone from the 7th universe, the Grand Priest fell from the sky. With his appearance, all the gods and angels of the 12th universe showed serious expressions. Immediately afterwards, the two Xeno appeared. Under the escort of 4 divine servants, stand on a high place and overlook everything. The 7th universe and the 9th universe have arrived, and the gods and angels of all universes have also arrived. Now, the preview conference will be officially launched. Under the words of Grand Priest, the atmosphere became extremely tense. The only one who was not affected was the Supreme God directly above everyone, and the two Xeno cheered with joy. For them, this is a long-awaited game, especially for the future Xeno, and this interesting thing is finally about to begin. Hey, Quan, I'm here. Also suddenly, in the depressed atmosphere, the nervous Son Goku spoke suddenly and waved his arms. Such behavior and words made all the gods and angel look sideways, and even stunned. Especially when Son Goku flew directly in front of Xeno to communicate with him, it shocked all the gods. Angels are even more unbelievable, mortals are so bold. In the words of gods of destruction and Supreme Kai, if this kid wants to die, don't drag them. However, the next scene made all the gods and angel dumbfounded. The two Xeno's attitude towards Son Goku was not only very friendly, but also greeted him happily like a long time no see between friends. Idiot, hurry up and come back to me. Beerus, who had been so frightened, roared at Son Goku. Now is not the time for Son Goku to say hello to Xeno. Beerus was even more agile, went straight to the top, grabbed Son Goku's clothes, and threw it back to the platform of the 7th universe. At the same time, I bowed to Xeno, expressing my apologies. Beerus was furious, and if it wasn't for the power contest, he would have really destroyed Son Goku. Well, really, I'm just saying hello to Xeno-sama, is it necessary to be so serious? Son Goku complained with a dissatisfied expression. It's fine not to speak. After saying this, Beerus is even more angry, but when Grand Priest and Xeno-sama, as well as all the gods and angel, his anger can only be suppressed, and instead he is worried about Son Goku. This kid is too simple, and he has no idea what serious consequences this presumptuous act will bring in the world of God. You kid, you want to die. Beerus' face was gloomy, and after his face changed, the power of gods of destruction suppressed Son Goku's body, not to mention how terrifying it was. Son Goku, who was frightened, could only beg for mercy, that. Beerus-sama, I'm wrong, can't I? ... Farce happens quickly and ends quickly. The Grand Priest didn't take it seriously, it just ignored Son Goku's behavior. After signaling to Xeno, he began to pronounce the sentence, okay, Xeno-sama has been waiting for a long time. Everyone from the universe, let everyone gather here this time. It has been announced before, in order to make the future Xeno full of expectations for the next power conference, so, the outpost of this power conference was specially held, and the 3 soldiers sent by the 9th universe and the 7th universe were sent one by one. Now, we invite representatives from both universes to come to the arena and compete. This outpost, with the sentencing of the Grand Priest, officially begins. You guys, who is going up? Gods of Destruction Sidra asked, glancing at the 3 wolves. Gia ha 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 ha. Lord Sidra, let me do it, I will leave all the players in the 7th universe killed. The Red Wolf Basil took the initiative to ask Ying, this guy's arrogant attitude with madness and bloodlust. It seems that he really has a 100% certainty to tear up everyone in the 7th universe. However, what he didn't know was that he was just a humble ant. 7th universe, whoever picks one at random, can kill him. Jumping from the 9th universe's preparation area, Basil fell to the ring. His expression was indifferent, his arms crossed his chest, and he had the demeanor of an invincible king. 7th universe, after consultation, dispatched representative players. Majin Buu. When this guy came on stage, he was not well received by the gods because it was too strange and funny. Only Birgit suddenly remembered something and asked, hey, Foy, do you know where the devil of our universe is now? The 6th universe and the 7th universe belong to twin universes, and the 6th universe also has a devil. Magic, that's right, we universe also has demons. Birgit, if you don't tell me, I will forget him. After Birgit reminded him, the figure like a demon appeared in Foy's mind. That guy, but in the past few years, destroyed an unknown number of galaxies. It was because of Birgit's relationship that he stopped his behavior, so that the crazy thing didn't happen again. You two guys, can't you speak more clearly? I have to ask, there are such guys in our universe? Looking at Majin Buu on the field, Champa turned his head curiously, asked Fui and Birgit. To him, he had never heard of the devil. It's not surprising that Mr. Champa doesn't know. After all, you have been working hard to find the wishing beads in those years. In our universe, there really exists a devil like Majin Buu, and that devil destroys you when you are lazy. A lot of planets, it is a great contribution. Angel Vados explained actively. If she doesn't mention it, she won't mention it. But since it is mentioned, it is necessary to say it. Huh, anything like that, then why didn't you tell me? Champa was gloomy. This suddenly lowered his rank again, as if he really didn't know anything. Didn't you ask me? And if you knew about the existence of the devil, Lord Champa, you wouldn't be Lord Champa, hee. Vados kept snickering. Being ridiculed, Champa blushed with anger and had a thick neck and clenched his fists slightly, but he still managed to hold back his anger and did not break out. Birgit didn't care about the mutual ridicule of the two beside her. Continue to ask Fua. If we can find him, then our universe's odds of winning will definitely be higher. Let the demons of the 6th universe participate, which makes Foy stunned, but isn't the number of people already complete now? It's never a problem to have a complete number of people, the capable go up. The weak go down. Isn't that the truth? Birgit's words left Foy speechless. Champa on the side heard the sound and said, could it be that the devil is so powerful? Can he take the place of others? At least, it's much better than the crooked melons and cracked dates you found. Rolling his eyes, Birgit said bluntly. Instead, stop talking. After all, what is to be said now, what to do in the future, and who to do it, is the key. Champa was very angry, but he didn't know how to refute. Vados narrowed her eyes. She knew that if Birgit did this, the 6th universe could be said to be the real strongest warrior. Her eyes stayed on Birgit, the deep meaning only she knew, what it meant. Without the topic of communication, Birgit focused and analyzed the strength level of the contestants on the court. Red Wolf Basil's combat power is only a little more than 1000 Jing, while Majin Buu's combat strength is as high as 5000 Jing, which is 5 times that of Red Wolf Basil. On the surface, it is conceivable that Majin Buu's strength far exceeds that of Red Wolf Basil. Speaking of which, Birgit has never been on the right track for Majin Buu's strength. After all, when Majin Buu was in the Z period, it should not be so strong. At most, it is only a mega level. According to the current situation, Majin Buu's real combat power should have reached Guy's unit, at least the full outburst of anger must be at Guy level. Exaggerate, do not. In fact, this is not an exaggeration at all. After all, in the original book, this fat man has never practiced, and his combat power has been increasing. Demons have always been defined as beings with the most terrifying potential. On the ring. Fat man, do you want to eat chocolate? Basil thought of something funny and took the initiative to tease Majin Buu. Chocolate. Do you have any chocolate? When he mentioned chocolate, Fat Buu immediately came to his senses. For sweets, he could say that he had no ability to resist. Of course, come here if you want. Basil smiled sullenly. Anyone can hear it, it's a joke Majin Buu. However, the naive and simple Fat Buu was fooled. The moment Majin Buu approached, Basil smiled grimly, and the next second he took the initiative to attack. In just a split second, he rushed to the front of Majin Buu, his right leg gathered energy, the crimson light flashed, and Basil kicked Majin Buu's abdomen with a whip. The powerful impact made Majin Buu's body twist like a rubber, and the whole person turned into a cannonball and flew out in an instant. Taking advantage of the victory, Basil's legs exploded with strength, and his whole body turned into a red streamer and quickly shuttled through the space, and launched a continuous fatal blow to Majin Buu. The light on the right leg became more and more intense, and the intensity of the energy condensation became more and more terrifying. Majin Buu's fat body was kicked around like a ball by Basil, unable to fight back. In everyone's eyes, this pink fat man has lost. Gods of Destruction Sidra and Supreme Kai Luo and the 9th universe are extremely satisfied with Basil's performance. Yes, that's it. Give me a good smashing of this fat man and show the whole universe the power of our 9th universe warriors. Supreme Kai Luo laughed wantonly. What he didn't know, however, was that Majin Buu didn't take any damage from the beginning to the end, and that Basil's attack seemed ferocious, but in fact he didn't even break the defense. In addition, Majin Buu didn't fight back, but was passively beaten, giving him the illusion of Basil's super strength. Boom, LB, boom, boom, LB, LB. The sound of continuous air explosions exploded, and Basil's series of attacks poured down towards Majin Buu's body like raindrops. Countless attacks, every move carries the terrifying power that is overwhelming and destroying the world. Ha ha ha, it's over, fatty fatty. The voice fell, Basil teleported and appeared directly above Majin Buu. The light from his right leg turned into flames and receded, his whole body rotated at a high speed, maximizing his strength and power. Boom, an explosion. There were layers of ripples in the space, and Majin Buu was hit head-on by this terrifying blow, smashing into the center of the ring from the sky like a cannonball. For a time, thick smoke and dust flew up, and Majin Buu fell to the ground in the center of the ring. Blowing Majin Buu down in an understatement, Basil landed magnificently from the sky. With an opponent of this level, there is no pressure at all. With a smile on his lips, Basil folded his arms and turned his back to Majin Buu, thinking he had won the battle. Blind self-confidence in himself affected his judgment. He was too conceited, underestimated the combat power of others, and was overconfident in his own strength. Majin Buu, after all, is one of the top combat powers in the 7th universe. How could it be solved by a single red wolf in just 3 or 2 strokes? Of course, he wouldn't know. Kaka. Single quote. The broken stones in the ring moved, and Majin Buu, who had fallen to the ground, stood up tremblingly as his momentum rose. Nani. Feeling the strangeness behind him, Basil turned around in disbelief. The last thing he wanted to see happened. After eating his super combo, the fat pink man was able to stand up, and looking at him like this, it didn't seem to be a big problem. There was a faint smile on that fat cheek, and in the next second, he took a deep breath and filled his body with breath. The large and small footprints all over the body disappeared in the blink of an eye, and the distorted parts also returned to their original state in an instant. This, impossible. You have nothing at all. He cried out in disbelief. Basil was stunned by Majin Buu's terrifying repair ability. As long as there is one cell left, Majin Buu will not die. This is the scariest part of Majin Buu. General damage blows are simply difficult to hit hard. You dare lie to me? I'm angry. With a roar, Majin Buu's squinted eyes opened, and the monstrous pink aura spread out in all directions with him as the center. The terrifying momentum swept across the 4 directions like a tornado. Basil's face changed drastically after feeling this extremely powerful chi from the front, and an ominous premonition developed in his heart. Birgit, who is located in the 6th universe viewing area, judged by her own ability at this moment, Majin Buu's combat power value has reached the 7th dimension, the level of Guy. What a boring duel. This level of combat is not even a warm-up exercise. Muttering, Birgit clearly saw that Majin Buu's combat strength value had reached an astonishing 10 Gao. This power is far beyond Basil's. Indeed, it's quite boring, and there is no passion at all. Champa followed Birgit's words at this time and echoed. Like a mockery of the 7th universe. He. Birgit-san and Champa-sama have the same thoughts this time. Vados chuckled lightly. On the ring. After being deceived, the angry Majin Buu has burst into full force. In addition to being beaten up by Basil before, that anger surged in his heart. Basil, whose fighting power is not at the level of Qianjing, is more vulnerable than a baby in front of Majin Buu, who is full of firepower. The fat body shuttled around the arena at an astonishing speed, and the fat fist looked ineffective, but it was actually enough to smash an incomparably huge planet. It was only 3 iron fist attacks and the last heavy hammer, which completely made Basil incapacitated, spitting acid water at the mouth, and fell to the ground. No suspense, instant kill. This scene made the faces of Supreme Kai Luo and Gods of Destruction Sidra in the preparation area of the 9th universe change dramatically. They lost so easily. This weird fat man is so difficult to deal with. How can that pink fat man be so powerful? I underestimated him before, Supreme Kai Luo said angrily. After thinking about it, Luo thought of something. With a thought, a red light flashed in his palm, and a red fruit appeared in his palm. Hey, I'm afraid this is not a good idea. This is a violation of the rules. Gods of destruction Sidra saw this scene, and had a bad premonition in his heart. What are you afraid of? This is just an outpost, there are no rules, no matter what, we can't lose the 9th universe, Basil. If you can still hear me, stand up. Supreme Kai Luo'er, he called out to Basil, who fell to the ground in the ring. Hearing Luo'er's voice, Basil's consciousness was awakened, he stood up tremblingly, and rubbed his aching head with both hands. The heavy hammer just now made him seriously injured. Lord Supreme Kai, I'm fine, give me that thing. Basil turned to Supreme Kai La behind him and responded. That's good. With a gloomy smile, Supreme Kai Loha threw the huge red fruit out. Basil caught the fruit with a sinister smile on his face. Fat man, I gave you a little advantage just now, but not now. Basil swallowed the fruit as soon as he finished speaking. In just an instant, his body underwent amazing changes. The originally thin red wolf has transformed into a huge, burly and strong devil wolf. In terms of breath and energy intensity, it is as simple as doubling. Power. This feeling of being filled with energy is great. The combat power skyrocketed, and the red wolf Basil screamed in the sky. His combat power has also soared from the previous 1000 Beijing to 3000 Beijing, and it is still rising. It's just that this force is powerful, but it is far from Majin Buu, who is full of firepower. Let's start again. Fatty. Basil grinned, bloodthirsty light flashed in his eyes. The red suffocation surging all over his body was gathered by him to the position of his right leg. Ow! A roar came from the beast. The energy converged like a flame on Basil's right leg and was driven to his fingertips, condensing into a crimson ball of energy. The fat man of the 7th universe. Let me wash away the shame I have suffered from you, and turn it into dust under my power, flash shock. Roaring, the completely red-eyed Basil spins at high speed, accelerating the energy after reaching a certain level. The dark red energy ball that was compressed to the extreme also shot out. But what happened next made Basil completely dumbfounded. The flash of energy condensed from his entire body made him vulnerable in front of Majin Buu. Majin Buu blocked this powerful attack with just one hand. Ong. Single quote. As his palm slowly exerted force, this was compressed to the extreme flash shock, completely collapsed, and turned into a cloud of dust that dissipated in the space. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.